And welcome back to Views from the Sidelines.
We're here.
We are here
last
for
episode,
the last
baby.
show of the semester. Oh my gosh.
We're here, bro.
We're here.
We made it.
I'm so happy.
We still have another semester of Tony, by the way. So
Yeah.
don't worry, folks.
Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. Trust me. These guys can't get rid of me either. So, yeah, man.
How are we feeling today, everybody?
I'm feeling great. The
I'm
camera
feeling
loves to
amazing.
work with us right now, but
Yeah,
while
it's zooming in and out,
Yeah.
man.
while that's
It's
getting
hitting us with a nasty little pan.
while that's getting fixed
Oof.
up, we're gonna try.
Oh, yeah?
We're gonna try to give
yeah,
you
I
guys
am. Hey,
some info, about just some cool little things that's been happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Start first off. Before we get to the NBA playoffs and what transpired this weekend and what is currently going on in the league, let's bring it down to more local down here at USC just for a quick second. Talk about college hoops. I know we don't really do it that much often on the show, but so Gilbert Arenas, shout out to the
Agent Zero.
Gil's Arena, yeah, Agent Zero. If you want to know about the Second Amendment, go talk to him.
Yes.
His son, Elijah, he plays on our team.
Yes.
Plays for the USC Trojans.
Sometimes
Pretty good player.
not so well. Sometimes.
I mean, you guys have gone to more basketball games than I have.
Yeah.
But that's why we're getting 2 years of it.
He's a guy with plenty of talent. A lot of athleticism. Gets great looks. Really good shot creator.
Yeah.
Hasn't been quite the shot maker yet, but it's coming. I believe. I believe in Elijah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a 5-star coming out of high school, and he did start with about a month and a half left
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the season.
after a horrific car
Horrible
crash.
car crash.
So got to give him a lot of grace in a big runway.
Yeah, but came in, had a rough start, and then towards the last 5 games, once Chad had his first injury this season, he did kind of take over for the team and average, I think, 22 in those last few games, but average 14 on the season. Like Dash said, not the most efficient shot maker. He does get to spots, but also sometimes he does put up some shots that you're like, I don't know if that really was the one.
Yeah.
I know about that, Chief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he sounds like a good player. Sounds like a
He's got to adjust.
He'll be, I guarantee you, he'll be much better in year 2, adjusted, staying in the college program. I don't know if his dad had anything to do with him, declaring for the draft and coming right back. But I think that was the right decision not to go right into the professional leagues, because if we saw how he was when he got thrown into just college hoops, just being thrown into that environment, the NBA, without a lot of college experience, I think he made the better choice right now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for those who don't know, Liam just said it. He declared for the draft, and he's a freshman, mind you. And 5 minutes after the announcement, he undeclares for the draft. So he just says, I'm returning for my sophomore season. In my opinion, gang, I think that, he on his own was probably sitting in his dorm, was just like, you know what? I don't really care about school. Let me just declare for the draft real quick. And then his manager was like, whoa. Relax. Let's, all right, come on. No. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should actually, come back and get another, because right now, I don't know what the polls look like for him if he started just declaring. I don't know where he would get selected, if he would get selected, but
I'm sure he would get selected. I don't know if you guys saw. It was a record low of players declaring for the draft. 71 players declared for the draft so far. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I saw was yesterday's numbers. Was 71 on that sheet. I mean, minus Elijah, I think that's now 70.
Does he got as much pull? Does Gilbert got as much pull in the league as LeBron? Though?
Not quite, but Elijah definitely has that ceiling, that high ceiling as a really athletic, bigger guard who can score the ball in bunches and create his own shot. To me, he really feels like one of those guys that is built more for the NBA than college. We see a lot of guys follow that career path where it's like they look incredible in high school. They're a 5-star coming out, huge recruit, just like Elijah was. Then they struggle in college, and then they get to the NBA and they really start to figure things out. And the NBA game is just more suited to their skill set. I do think Elijah's one of those guys. I think he will play better in the NBA because the way that the NBA has played more fits his style. Because college hoops, as we know, is a completely different animal. It's a completely different game. It's slower. It's more about the half court sets. It's less about the ISO. It's less about the solo shot creation. So I think he's got a ceiling for the league, and I hope to see him get there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and last point, I mean, I don't really know if he's the best primary ball handler. Last year with Rodney Rice going out and with Chad going out, he was kind of forced in that role. And so I don't know, like you said, if that was the best role for him, especially in this college game. And so with another year of experience plus being added to the NBA, I think we'll see him succeed a lot more.
Definitely more of that 2-guard role.
For sure.
Create your own shot. Like this would be, amazing if he ever got to that point, but sort of the Devin Booker-esque.
Devin Armando Booker is his
Sort of
comp right now?
I wouldn't call that
not
his comp,
yet.
just his position group. Like those guys who you want the ball in their hands when they're trying to score, but not necessarily like they're not looking to create for someone else. They will create for someone else if the defense forces it, but not, looking for it.
He can get a bucket.
But definitely like a longer guy than Devin Booker, but not, quite the shooter that Booker ever was. So.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of rookies, our rookie right now, he's not going to be a rookie anymore. In next season he'll be a sophomore. But let's talk about the rookies actually in the big leagues right now.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Cooper Flagg. You have won the Rookie of the Year award for the 2025-2026 season.
Cool.
Instant thoughts.
I could take this one first.
Go ahead.
Well-deserved, first of all. I want to preface this by saying, well-deserved. An incredible rookie season. Cooper Flagg is special. I have been on record earlier in the year saying he was more of a high floor. I didn't see the ceiling with him. I apologize. I take it back. He has a vaulted ceiling. He could get, he could absolutely be in those top 3 conversations sometime. He's got all the tools, defensively, offensively. I think he's got everything that it takes. He struggled a little bit efficiency-wise at points, but that's what rookies do. We're used to this. We know this. An incredible rookie season, but I do think a co-rookie of the year would have been cool. I think, if anything, this was the year, and if it didn't happen this year, I don't see it ever happening again. There's been 3 in NBA history. I think they will always be 3.
Just like how if Luka Doncic didn't win MVP this year, it's never going to happen. It's not gonna
I
happen
think it's a similar thing to that.
And I liked his season. I think that Cooper Flagg, he is proven to me at least that he is definitely got his name stamped in the league. Maybe not as much as like Wemby, because
not quite, but
that guy's gonna be the GOAT. But when we talk about Cooper Flagg and like his ability to like lead a team, I think he's gonna be one of those guys that we see leads his team to a top 4 seed.
I would not be surprised in the slightest if I see an MVP Cooper Flagg at some point.
Yeah, like you said, just being thrown into that type of situation your rookie year and all your vets get traded away mid-season and you're just you're left to be the number 1 guy, and he stepped up, man. He had a rough start to the season, but got better as it progressed, and he averaged exactly 21 points per game, and he joins a list of 27 players who have ever done that. And some of the greats, we have players like Luka, we have Donovan Mitchell, we have Joel Embiid, we have some of the greatest scorers of all time, and Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron, obviously, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan,
LeBron
Shaq,
James,
Michael Jordan, Hakeem, and so I think you see that if you're that good as a rookie, you can only go up from there, and I'm sure in 3 or 4 years, he'll be one of the best players in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. But, while we're down a Views from the Sideline host, don't worry. He's left his thoughts with about this topic, about the Rookie of the Year.
We know he loves Colin Knippel, so I know he's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
No.
Before seeing this video.
So let's take a quick look, guys. Ignore the 360p video. I don't know what Edward was recording off of, but this was his reaction, folks.
Mine are on the floor.
This looks like some early YouTube video type stuff.
All right, Edward, what do you got for us, man?
Let's hear it.
Tony asks, and I deliver. Just took my suit off, Still got my dress shirt on. But you know I'm going to send my take in for views from
Why is it cutting out? Oh. Hold on, Edward.
I hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Tony asks, and you know I deliver. Just took my suit off. Still got my dress shirt on. But you know I'm going to send my take in for views from the sideline. Con Knipple. Con Knipple, my glorious king. The greatest NBA player to step foot on the hardwood.
Don't say it.
Robbed of Rookie of the Year. I'm distraught. I'm shocked. I'm hurt. I'm angry. We forget that Cooper Flagg came into this league and people thought he was just going to be a defensive guy who gave you 12 points per game. And you know what? That is what he is. Yes, his numbers look good this year because he gets 95 trillion touches a game. Con is efficient. Catch and shoot. Attack off the dribble. Off the closeout. His shooting numbers were unlike any rookie we've ever seen. You're telling me we haven't seen a rookie that had a better year than Cooper Flagg being the number one option? Con was the number one option. Yeah, give him 95 touches a game. See how many points he scores. Con did what he does, and he did it better than any rookie ever. And the fact that he didn't win Rookie of the Year for that is a testament to how backwards the NBA is at the upper levels right now. I'm shocked. I'm devastated.
Just fantastic acting by Edward there.
Yeah.
I could feel the emotion through the screen.
That was. Let me take these Mickey Mouse ears off. Wow. Thank you, Edward. Thank you for sending that video. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But
That's a take, for real.
at the same time, I think there was a lot of truth to what he said. I do think that we haven't seen. I mean, clearly he was the last guy was Stephen Curry to have that many threes in a regular season. I think he was. He had over 200 something threes in the season, and then he was. I believe there's something about there's a stat somewhere about him being like the fastest to record a certain amount of points as like a
He did hit 273 3-pointers.
Let it rain.
Which is nuts and for anybody. I mean, he led the league for good reason. He absolute sniper. Like as Edward said, the one thing that leads me to, I don't agree that he was necessarily robbed. Cooper was well deserving of this MVP.
Absolutely.
But Rookie of the Year, sorry, not MVP.
Yeah.
But
Edward would say, actually, no, he can do that too.
Con Knipple is also well deserving, and that's why I was so hoping for a co-Rookie of the Year, because I've never seen a year or two rookies deserved it more. That was, an incredible
tough.
race. Two roommates from Duke,
two really good friends,
great
two
friends,
very similar players.
I just think the way that Con shoots the three, it's something we haven't seen a rookie do. So I'm interested to see, does it get better throughout his career? Does he do this consistently throughout his career? Because if he does this every year, he's still one of the greatest shooters ever.
I mean, he's gonna, for a while, we said that we would never see another shooter like Stephen Curry because he's the greatest guy to ever touch basketball with the shooting ability that he does. And we say a lot about, we've never seen, other guys like out there like Shaq or, like a Kevin Durant, or LeBron James. But I think that as time does go on, these archetypes that we see, they will emerge. And I'm not saying that Con, because I saw the look on your face. I don't think that Con will be a better shooter than Steph. I don't know, but
there's absolutely a world where that happens.
He's got to
literally
literally
live with that.
I don't
First
think
of
he
all,
can do it
LaMelo's got
for
to be
as
out
long.
for that to work.
Yeah, but like I mean, we have no reason to say that he can't. That's why I'm saying there's absolutely a world where he is the best shooter ever.
You could say there's a world, but I think
And
that
I don't
is
think it's
such
that far of a
minuscule
reach.
chance.
That's where I disagree. He came in and he hit a record amount of threes on high efficiency, and we have no sample size to take this as he can't be. And we have plenty of sample size to take this as he could be.
Sure, if you want to use that logic, yes. But
I'm not saying he will be, but he could be.
He has to do this for so much longer.
He does. And
He
he
has to get better. 273 threes a year, amazing, obviously, for a rookie.
on 40%, 42%
Yeah,
from three.
but he's going to have to get better than that.
If he did this every year for 20 years, I don't think he does.
If he does that if that won't happen.
I have never
That
seen
will
these
not
two
happen.
argue. This is amazing.
I think
that will not
absolutely-
happen.
The one player, look, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever,
Yeah,
And-
no doubt about that at this point.
but that won't hold. That won't hold because, and that's a testament to how great he really is.
It
If
is.
If you are the
It is.
first to really do something like, that's why I also believe, like, I believe strongly Bron over MJ, but Bron doesn't exist without MJ in the first place, right? And someone's going to come along and be a better shooter than Steph ever was.
Well, if you want to take
And-
also the point of like the record will never be broken. I mean, we didn't think that the Kareem record would have.
Yeah, and that Steph, the Steph record will be broken because the NBA is just going towards 3-pointers.
How long do you think it will be? Because I think it could be broken, but I think it would be in something like 40 years. I think we need another generation.
And the
Like,
NBA's been
Connie-
around for what? This is the 80th season or something like that. The 82nd season.
I mean, I think 30 is
You know,
fair.
it took
Because-
Steph what? About
Because it's going to take a player to about 15, 20 years to do it. And so
Yeah.
I think, but I do think in the next 10 years, we'll see the guy who ends up breaking it
damn.
in the league. Because that's just the way the league is trending. And that's not a testament. That's not saying, it's not hating on Curry. I love watching Steph play. I'm not here to hate on Steph Curry by any means. But when the NBA is going to shoot more and more threes and the stars are going to shoot more and more threes throughout their whole career, someone's going to come along and break the record because kids are trying to be like Steph. A kid is going to try to beat Steph. Steph wasn't.
Are kids trying to be like? Here's the question though: are kids trying to be like Steph, or do they want to be like Shea? Because
I think most kids still want to be.
I think most kids want to be like Steph. But here's the thing. You could also say that after a certain amount of time, we're also going to move on from chucking threes. And
Maybe.
they're going to introduce something. They might go back. Who knows?
I don't see a
the
world.
game is always changing so much. Like you said with a Shea, he's not a heavy 3-point guy. He gets a bucket. He gets to his spot no matter where it is. And so we could see things where, depending on the teams that are winning, because obviously the Warriors, they're not dominating. They haven't dominated in 40 years. But they dominated that stretch, and obviously years after we saw people want to play like their star. But if we have other teams, like if the Thunder go on a dynasty run, who's to stop us from saying that, like Tony said, people don't want to be like Shea? And obviously Steph is not going to get left in the dust here, but I think it is, LeBron's record is more impossible to break than Steph's. I agree with that 100%. But I do think Steph's is so high up there to break because he is insane.
He is insane, but it will be broken. But it will be broken.
Is a great shooter, but like we said, he's going to have to do it for 15
will,
years.
that's-
And
yes,
we don't know if he can do that.
and
we
I'm
don't
not
know if
saying
he's
it's
going to
not
stay
likely.
healthy.
It's not likely by any means.
It's not
but
likely.
Steph's career wasn't, a necessarily super healthy career. He's missed lots of time.
The start was not, but the later.
And this is
the
again.
latter aspect.
I just want to make it clear, like, this is no hate towards Steph at all. Like,
I know.
it's just logic. Like when the NBA,
it's logic. He said
NBA,
F
like,
your feelings. I care about facts.
I think it's logical to assume that most records are going to be broken, but I think you're underestimating how long it is going to take.
I just think it's going to take 25, 30 years in that range. And I don't think that's a disrespectful range at all. I think it could be before that. It could be after that. But 25 to 30 feels fair because that means in the next 10 years, we'll see the guy, whether it be early in his career or maybe it's a guy who's about to get to the league or maybe it's Khan. Like, who knows? But it's, when the NBA is going to stay a 3-point dominated league unless there's a rule change, in my opinion, because guys are getting so good at the 3-pointer. right? They are just mastering it. And if you master the 3-pointer, it's just that's always going to be more efficient than mastering the mid-range.
I think the mid-range won't be
the
for
three on Steph's level is what I'm saying.
True,
But someone will.
But there is a point that maybe someone will, but it's also like people are gonna compare the two. It's gonna be like how did he get his shots compared to how does Steph get his shots?
That's my
How
point.
did-
Is what was
deep
Steph,
did he shoot
Steph
him?
makes shots that should not go in because he gets to a spot
Yeah.
that not only he can do it, but he gets to some insane spots in a way that pretty much only he can do.
Yeah.
And Con doesn't play like Steph does.
Not yet. No, he doesn't.
Not yet. And I don't know if he's going to
And
get
I
to that
don't
point
necessarily think
where he's
Steph looked
taking a
like
step
that.
back.
Steph didn't look like that his
35
rookie
pointer.
year.
Absolutely. That's the thing that Con has going from right now is he has the start advantage.
and what
but
I-
it is, can he hold it? Because Steph, once he got a hold of it and got healthy, he's held it since let's say 2012.
But I'm not even here to say Con will break the record. I think there's a world where it happens. I don't think it's likely. But there are kids, like 12-year-old kids, doing drills to train the shots that Steph Curry
But
hits.
can they get there?
And the type
can
of
do that
types
in
of drills,
practice, but
types of
it's
drills
so
that weren't
hard.
invented yet when Steph was a kid because no one played like Steph did until Steph did, right? And now NBA players practice those shots, but we're seeing youth practice shots like those, and much to their coach's chagrin, like it's
I love that word.
It's a
chagrin.
terrible way to watch 12-year-olds huck up threes, but we're gonna see the occasional 12-year-old who's been practicing behind the back,
Yeah.
step back, snatch threes.
I think a mixture of both will be caught in the brush when we talk about like whose games are going to be really copied. I mean, like aside from the freaks of nature like Wemby
and
that are going to be
that's
created.
why I think Steph will be recreated is because he's a story to kids who don't feel like they are.
Yeah, they're not big.
They're not
enough.
aliens.
It's
Yeah.
not
You know?
something. It's not something you could necessarily recreate with practice.
I think it
what
is.
I don't think so. I think the types of shots that Steph takes, you could practice all you want, but he takes step backs with people in his face and at 35
I think-
feet. Like,
I think
but
more
these
than
are
practice
shots.
those. He practices those. That's why he makes them. Is preparation.
I think that more than that though, Steph Curry, what he does off the dribble is not really comparable to what Con does.
No, and I agree.
I think Steph Curry off the dribble is so hard to recreate.
Yeah, and there's
in my opinion,
a different.
I think Steph Curry, for a while, I mean, I was a big Kyrie Irving fan, but I think that when we talk about greatest ball handlers of all time,
He's up there.
I think
Steph
that
is up
he's
there.
up there.
Oh, for
with
sure.
The Allen Iversons
No,
and
and,
the Kyries.
and there's a difference between Con breaking the record and Con being the greatest shooter we've ever seen. I think he could break. He could absolutely break the record and not be the.
I think now you have to break the record to be the greatest shooter.
Oh
ever.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee. Like if Con broke it, I don't know if he's necessarily the best 3-pointer we've ever seen. Unless
well,
he
do you have to be
shatters it.
the all-time leading
Because-
scorer to be the best scorer ever?
No.
No, I don't think so.
But I think it's different in terms of three. Maybe there's a world where a guy just the best 3-point shooter ever
Because
plays
the,
10 years.
The thing was,
and doesn't catch up.
Steph was considered the greatest shooter ever years before he broke the record because that's just we knew it. We watched it and we
it's
knew
the
it.
way, it's the
And
way you see him get those. So
I think Con could theoretically get there, but he would have to step up so much. Where Steph has set such a high precedent
I don't think Con
for what it means to be. The
I don't
greatest
think Con
shooter.
will be the greatest shooter ever.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I do think there's a world where he breaks the record, and that doesn't necessarily make him the greatest shooter. It means he's the archetype of the Kyle Korverts that lasted the longest, or that came into the NBA. Like if Kyle Korver came into the NBA now, he'd be making more threes than he made back then because the NBA shoots more threes. They'd give him, before they drew up some plays for him, but a lot of times he was a spacing option, and then they kick to him and he hits the three. They're if Kyle Korver was in the league today, they're drawing plays up for him most of the times down the floor, just like they do for Con.
I mean, yeah, I think the skill gap for sure is there. As far as the point, it doesn't matter how skilled maybe Curry is. It's the fact that he could still technically get there just with his ability
and
to put the ball in the basket.
When you look at 90s basketball and then you compare it to today, it's just wow. In my at least when I watch, I'm like, these guys are just stratospheres better. And I think it would be naive to
90s?
say
90s hoops?
yes.
No, you think the players in the 90s were better than they are now?
No. The ones now are so much better than those in the
Oh,
90s.
okay, never mind.
And I think
make
it'd
me
be
pull out the
naive to
clip.
say that we are not that we are watching the peak of basketball. I think 20 years, 30 years down the line, people are going to be doing things that will blow our minds. And we're going to be like, well, that's not basketball. Like, we're going to be those old heads.
That's cheating.
They're going to be throwing up like,
what Wemby's doing shouldn't be
they're
allowed.
going to be throwing up like hook shots or behind the head shots from like 40 feet and going in. And we're like, that's not basketball. This is just shot chucking. But like, they're going to be so good.
They will be good. They will be good for sure. I mean,
Oh my God, Kobe Cruz!
Kobe Cruz.
Kobe!
Congrats
Oh
to the
my
Knicks.
God.
I think taking game 5 does seal.
Did you
likely.
get the graphic I sent you?
No, wait,
Oh,
what?
pull up.
emailed you.
There's a
I
little.
emailed
We
you,
have a
I
surprise for you, Kobe. But congratulations to the Knicks. I think winning Game 5 was monumental.
Yeah,
I think the Knicks
I mean,
will come out of the first round now for sure.
I still trusted them after losing Game 3. You know, having all the vets that they do. You know, CJ, while he is one of the more experienced playoff players in this entire series, I think just the sheer playoff experience the Knicks have had, especially in the past few years, I think it's just come out these last 2 games, and I think they will close it out on
I think
Thursday.
Knicks Celtics will be a very fun series. I will be rooting for the Knicks.
I think
as
that
a
will-
Cavs fan
I think
because
that
I
will
don't
be a
wanna play the
7-game
Celtics
series.
anymore.
Honestly, as someone who picked the Celtics to win the NBA Finals, I am a little worried right now. You know,
Yeah.
they
Wait.
are not playing well at home. I have known this though. You know, the Warriors beat them in 2 games in Boston during that series, and just since Tatum and Brown have been there, they have not been a great home team. I don't know why. It's not really a thing like Denver where it's like elevation. I think sometimes they just can't play to the moment in that stadium.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair assumption.
We'll get to the Celtics a little later.
Yeah, we'll get them to a little later. I'm trying to get this graphic to show up if the board will
Kobe
work
Cruz
with
does
me.
not like surprises.
He doesn't.
well-
Did he mention himself in the third person?
No, he said
I don't like
surprise."
surprises.
Well, Kobe, this one's a good one. I swear.
I swear, we put so much
once
work into this.
once we get this on the screen,
Yeah,
maybe.
you put so much.
Yeah, I did.
for sure.
Yeah,
for
all
sure.
handmade.
The final fits, says
yes.
Jennifer Senhaji.
These are the final fits.
These are.
What? Oh, really?
We got the. We all blinged up too, bro.
Hey, mom.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Wow, this is disappointing. Our surprise isn't working.
I'm very. I'm
Okay,
very
wait. Maybe
disappointed.
I can try and pull it up when you can zoom in on me. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Actually,
be,
that can work. Yes.
It's gonna be a little
Yes.
ghetto, but that's okay.
Unless
I'll
unless it
tell you
pops
when
up
I have it up.
on the mirroring. Yeah, it's just like thank you, Apple TV.
Okay, I have it up. If you want to.
You
zoom
got
in
it?
on me. Yeah. Do you want to go camera?
All right, here we go.
Okay. We made you a graphic. Our first, technically, like real fan.
Thank you,
know?
Kobe.
Hey man, we've had
We-
real fans on the show actually for a long time.
We love and
But,
appreciate
like
you.
random people do actually come on the show, but I like
You might be our favorite. Oh, Kobe Cruz said
you guys
hi,
are
mom.
brothers now.
Yeah.
You guys are brothers.
Kobe Cruz says hi, mom.
to Jennifer Senhaji. So.
Oh no, absolutely.
Uh-oh. You can share a Mr. Pibb, but that's too far. Brothers is too far.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He rejected my Mr. Pibb.
He did
offer.
reject the Mr. Pibb offer, actually.
He said W guys.
W
You're welcome,
guys.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Thanks,
for sure,
Kobe.
for sure.
Thanks for stopping in. We
Thanks for
appreciate
stopping
you.
in. Keep watching. Hopefully we get some good content for you. Yeah, let's actually talk about, because I don't want to get too much into what happened in the past, but I know that you and I wanted to talk about what transpired this weekend, specifically in Game 3 of the Houston series and in Game 4 of the Cavaliers series, or was it Game 3 as
Game
well?
4.
Game 4. So,
I have a quick stat for the Cavaliers series.
oh, okay, thank God.
And I'm going to have Dash respond to this
Yeah.
because it has been arguably one of the bigger reasons why they lost these 2 games. So James Harden in
He says he accepts the Pib now.
Ah, nice. Full
James
story.
Harden in 44 playoff games has had more turnovers than field goals. And in your last 2 games, he has had more turnovers than field goals with 8 and 7 respectively. And I think it was 7 field goals in the 8 turnover game and 6 in the 7 turnover game. And so can you respond to that and
Yeah.
why you guys are losing?
Oh, God. This is scripted, isn't it?
No, this is
This is
not.
a lob, isn't it?
No. He hasn't been great at taking care of the ball, and that has been an issue. I will say, watching the games, it doesn't feel like 8 and 7 turnovers. I would say it feels more like the 4 or 5 range, which is still too many for a primary ball handler. But one thing
Yeah.
I will say is, I still think the primary reason we've lost these 2 games is Donovan Mitchell hasn't been good enough, and I expect Donovan Mitchell to come in the playoffs and average. He should be scoring 30 points a game, around there, right? And he has not been good enough for us. And when that happens, the ball is in James Harden's hands too much because Donovan Mitchell hasn't been good enough. So,
but I thought that James Harden didn't need the ball in his hands. I thought he had his teammates.
Because Donovan Mitchell is one of the best playoff risers in basketball, and I don't think these two games
playoff riser that hasn't gotten past the second round.
I don't think these two games discredit everything he's done in the playoffs. He, still averages 28 points per game in the playoffs. He's been a great player in the clutch, in the big moments, but he hasn't been good enough, and he's the reason we've lost these last two games. But he was also the reason we won the first two games. So it's up to Donovan Mitchell, really. This team does go as Donovan Mitchell goes, and I still trust him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I still trust him. But I would say, yes, James Harden hasn't been great, but I still don't think, I don't think any Cavs fan is there saying, James Harden's the reason we're losing. Donovan Mitchell has to be better, and we have high expectations of him.
He does have to be better, and I think that last play, even though it was very disorganized, I understand the motive of trying to, get your guy to kind of, foul him on the 3-point attempt, but I don't like the chance the shot was letting it go up to the refs. I don't like putting the game in the refs.
And I honestly respect the refs for not making that call. The refs were awful that game, and I would like to touch on this. That was not one of the calls that was awful. I appreciate not calling that foul bait, but they were awful. And having to use...
Let's talk about
it. It really puts into question the rule. I understand the rule of only getting 2 challenges regardless of how many get right, or else coaches are going to start challenging things in the first quarter that they know they're going to get right, but it's not a big deal, whatever. I understand why the rule exists. But when you're forced to use challenges in situations like Kenny Atkinson was forced to use one in, where it's just pure incompetency from the refs, and you run out of challenges because you got both them right, but you don't have any more, and then 2 big calls come down later in the game that you can't challenge in the last 2 minutes because you had to use both your challenges already and get them both right. That is the problem.
Remind them what they had to do.
So the second challenge was absurd. It was ball, so a post entry pass, and Sam Merrill's fronting Scotty Barnes in the post because he's the smaller guy. He reaches up, tips the ball, it goes off Sam Merrill, but then quite obviously hits Scotty Barnes after it hits Sam Merrill and then goes out of bounds. And I thought in real time, obvious. The ref points Cavaliers ball, whatever. The fans erupt. The coaches run off the bench, start yelling at the refs. Scotty turns and starts yelling at the ref. And then one ref comes running from the other side of the court.
Oh my gosh.
Meets in a circle, and they're like, no. Raptors ball. And then Kenny Atkinson freaks out. He's like, are we serious right now? Has to challenge the call. Obviously, Cavs ball. We get the ball back. No more challenges.
I have never seen that ever happen before. As the induction of this new challenge rule has been implemented, I have never seen a moment where the refs literally make the coach waste their challenge because of a thing that they got wrong, but not just because of the thing that they got wrong, but because they got it right the first time.
You cannot allow yourself, as refs have to be unbiased and impartial people. They have to be. That is their job. I don't care if you're in a stadium of 50,000 fans screaming at you. Your job is to make the right damn call.
I was so angry, you don't understand.
Your job is to make the right damn call. And so you cannot allow yourself to get pressured into making a call that you don't believe is true, because your first instinct, obviously we've seen refs' first instincts get it wrong, but in that situation, it was a pretty obvious call. And their first instinct was to give the Cavaliers the ball. You have to stick with that.
I don't understand.
You cannot let yourself get yelled at, because as the ref, you control the court. You're not, obviously you don't have a lot of authority, but you technically do. You do.
I think
you have to dictate how the calls go, and you cannot allow the coach, who is obviously biased, and the fans to make you make the wrong decision. And that is just terrible.
I agree with you, Kobe. I think if you get both right, especially in the playoffs, you should get your challenges back, especially in a situation like where the Cavs found themselves.
And also, in the last 2 minutes, if you get a challenge right, you should just get it back. I think that's something, because we've seen.
I mean, we get one. Like you guys get one when it's overtime, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I think you do. Maybe
it should apply.
Get one.
It should apply to the last 2 minutes of the game. If you get a challenge right, you shouldn't get punished for getting your challenges right, because then it opens the door for a challenge to go wrong, or for a call to be wrong, and then you're out of challenges, and now you lose the game in a situation like this.
The Cavs were punished for the refs making the wrong call. The Cavs challenge it, get it right, and they're punished because they don't have any left. And then there's a question mark, a 50-50 out of bounds call with Brandon Ingram later in the game. I think that was off of the Cavs. I don't think that was the one, but the one where I would have loved to have a challenge back was one of the last possessions. Cavs down 4. They inbound the ball to Sam Merrill. He gets a 3 off. His foot was on the line.
That was tough. That reminded me. That gave me flashbacks.
But the jersey grab.
Make it only a playoff rule is what Kobe says.
I don't hate that either.
I don't hate that because
it definitely slows down the game, so that could hurt regular season games.
Yeah.
But playoff games, I agree But
especially in like a win now game, like obviously that wasn't really a win now game, but it's a pivotal game, and obviously in the playoffs the stakes are much higher. So obviously those.
And getting back to that play, like the Sam Merrill grab was obvious, right? And it happens before the inbound.
Yeah.
If they review the two pointer, and in reviews you can call an apparent foul, but not on a replay assist where you're just checking if his foot was on the line. They could have called the foul, which if it occurs before the ball's inbounded in a late situation, that's a free throw for Sam Merrill, and the Cavs get the ball back.
Yeah.
Making it possible for the Cavs to score enough points in that one possession to send the game to overtime. So that's a big moment. And if Kenny Atkinson has a challenge there, I guarantee you he challenges asking for a intentional off-ball foul before the ball is inbounded.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
We've seen, so far these playoffs, we've seen a couple of really core moments in these playoff games. I mean, if you want to take just the Phoenix and Oklahoma City series in general, it's been atrocious.
Game 2 was so biased. It is so unfair to the league. Like, usually you would think that the number 1 team actually doesn't get as many calls because a team that's so good, I would say in the Warriors' heyday, they weren't the best whistled team in the league.
No, they didn't get to the line.
They didn't get to the line a lot.
They're also perimeter shooting.
I think it is just utterly ridiculous the way that they treat the Thunder. It is every fan. Thunder fans don't want to admit it, but they know it. Like to see Booker getting a tech for trying to save the ball, getting an offensive foul called, and on the other end of the floor, moments later, Chet Holmgren does the same thing, but he gets a defensive foul.
Chet Holmgren gets the same thing. You can tell that Chet loves. He's been going to acting classes recently, and I think the guy that he's been learning is from Lou Dort. I'm gonna be the first one to say it. Lou Dort, you are a dirty player.
Oh yeah,
you are 100%. You are a dirty player.
100%.
When you blatantly see how many times that you don't want to make a lot of assumptions about like stuff like tripping, but if you pay attention like throughout the regular season and through what he did this series, he does that little like extension on his foot, on his back foot all the time.
And he does more. I mean, wherever he can get away with something, extra physical that was super unnecessary, he'll do it.
Yeah. At least
it's
PJ
normally
Tucker.
It's normally
like just straight up like I'm gonna just try to get in your face as much, not like I'm a like literally beat you up.
Yeah, like I mean, Lou Dort, and most of the time it feels like it's targeted at the stars, which makes you feel like this feels like a trying to injure their best player. Like
just take him out of the series entirely.
Obviously, in this series, it does. Like, I mean, the refs could be on the Sun side. That it's probably still a sweep. Like this was just not a close series. The Thunder are so much better. But I agree with you here. Like Lou Dort, I think one of the biggest reasons Shea gets as much attention as he does for his foul baiting antics is less of his antics by themselves. Like we see guys like the Jalen Brunsons and most star guards realistically doing similar things, but they don't have players like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso getting away with things on the defensive end that make it so blatantly obvious that Shea has this whistle.
If you even want to look at Dillon Brooks, I would argue that Dillon Brooks, maybe not in years past, but I would say this season, he's been on pretty good behavior, at least on his defense not being deemed as dirty.
He's been not doing a lot of personal foul stuff. He's been doing a lot of trash talking.
Technical fouls.
He might have done a little bit more of that maybe in his Houston heydays.
But I encourage that more than I encourage like a Lou Dort type player.
Yeah.
100%.
There's like Dylan Brooks right now. Right now, it feels like
It's kind of funny.
Dylan.
It is kind of funny. Like his stare downs at the beginning of every
Yeah.
game.
But
I love
Lou
that.
Dort doesn't do it like Dylan Brooks does it to play into a persona. I mean, it's probably a little bit of who he is, obviously, but
Yeah.
Lou Dort is kind of like a psychopath, man. He's just trying to injure players. He's running down the court and he just stops in front of Jokic and he bodies him for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
it is really weird activity, and I've
Super
never
weird.
seen a team get such an inconsistent whistle on both ends of the floor in the way that on offense, anything on them is a foul, but for them defensively, they can touch, they can rough up whatever they want, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
call it
they
half the time.
they are really their
Like-
whistle's ridiculous.
Kobe
Their whistle is ridiculous.
Kobe said one of the least likable teams. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
absolutely. That's
obviously,
the reason everyone hates the
I-
Thunder right
I
now.
would
these
say-
dynastic teams historically, like the Warriors were hated because they were just such a super
They were
team
very
and KD
good.
ran. I don't think they were not that hated, the 73-9 team. That was great basketball.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think-
they didn't
I
get
think
as
Stephen,
much.
I will say though, Stephen Curry got on a lot of people's nerves, like just because of how good and ridiculous he was.
Yeah, but
getting
it's
on
a
people's
different-
nerves for being good is different than being unlikable.
Yeah, like people just don't like this. I mean,
Well, there was an argument that like, oh, all he does is like get like these elevator screens, and that's how he gets like his shots. I
Yeah.
do remember that being a conversation.
Yeah,
but
but it's
but
like-
I do know that there is a
there's a
There
different
is a
type of
difference.
hatred right now. Like,
I mean,
it feels
Steph
like
is one of the worst whistles ever.
the NBA world. The NBA world is rooting against the Thunder right now, and rightfully so. I mean,
It's crazy because I mean,
Almost
I'd say in the
anyone-
last couple of years, like maybe this is a thing with just recency bias, but the Thunder were kind of liked.
yeah,
I would
they-
say.
I mean, I think they were
in
before they won that
2024.
super.
when they were
won-
the first seed that 1 year, they were liked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree, Kobe. The Warriors weren't as hated until KD joined, and
Yeah.
they got hated because
Yeah.
that was unfair and just
It wasn't
like-
unfair.
It was unfair. It was unfair as a Cavs fan.
No,
It was
no, it
very
wasn't.
unfair.
No, it wasn't.
Especially-
you guys would have beaten them in 2015 if K Love and Kyrie were healthy.
You
so,
know
like,
what?
We traded
Genuinely
each other's
felt like-
rings.
You know what genuinely felt like the worst feeling ever,
a
which
blood bond.
it didn't end up mattering. But when the day the Warriors signed Boogie Cousins, I cried. I cried.
Honestly,
real
I
tears,
laughed.
because that
Looking
felt
back
so
on it, it
unfair.
doesn't
It
matter.
didn't matter looking back, but at the time,
As a Warriors fan, all I could do was laugh because
I cried real tears. I was probably like, what year was that?
probably like
29
what,
that
10?
was summer of 2019.
2019.
12,
so
13?
I was 11, 12.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. I mean, no, of course it was a crazy move at the time. It was like,
Yeah.
bro,
I think
how the
Jokic-
Warriors can even get worse.
I think Jokic is likable.
no.
Yeah, there's times
No.
where he is.
You don't
and
think
times where he's
Jokic is
not.
likable?
Absolutely
he's
not.
likable.
We're gonna actually get to Jokic in a damn minute. But yeah.
Wait, who defended him?
who defended him?
Who's been defending him this series?
Who's been we'll talk about
Quite-
it. We'll
quite-
talk about
quite-
that. Rudy
quite
Gobert.
quite
Rudy
a
Gobert.
defender.
Rudy Gobert has
Incredible
been defending him.
defender.
He's been defending him. I won't say he's a better defender than Giannis.
Giannis ain't doing that.
He would. Let's move on to like my quick little summary of what happened in Game 3, what transpired. I'm just gonna get through everything real quick. Şengün has the best game of the series. No Kevin Durant again. The Lakers without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves have honestly they've been rocking. The Rockets managed to get a
Implosion.
6-point lead
30 seconds, right?
25.
Yeah.
With
How's
25
that
seconds left on the clock. They're up
One of
6.
two teams ever to blow a 6-point lead with 30 seconds.
They're
in
up
the playoffs.
6. They're up 6 points. And Marcus Smart does a little twitch, and Jabari Smith Jr., who got the last rebound.
What an awful pass.
He bites on that twitch. He throws it up to Jayshawn Tate. Inbound steal by Marcus Smart. He goes to the 3-point line, pump fakes, gets fouled, goes to the line for 3 points. Next play afterwards, the Rockets go up the court. Reed Shepherd gets his pocket picked.
Reed Shepherd gets it in the backcourt.
Yeah.
And just doesn't see LeBron right behind him, unaware.
Well, I would say like he knew he blew by him.
You
It's
have
a
to
savvy-
switch. You have to
You
switch
have
to
to,
the
you
side
have to
situation.
switch. You're a point guard. You went to Kentucky. You were literally the point guard at Kentucky. I don't know why you wanted to be like the Steph Curry on the team. I get it. He's one of the few shooters, but be a point guard. Be your natural position. Anyways, that happens. Kick out to LeBron James. I swear it was in the exact same spot where he hit a game-tying shot in Washington like 10 years ago.
The turnaround bank. Yeah.
I got flashbacks of that, and as soon as he makes that shot and ties the game, I knew it was over.
I really thought that turnaround for game was in too.
Yeah. I thought so too. I thought that was game 2.
I thought that was cash.
But yeah.
My goat right there.
What
LeBron.
What is the one thing that I'll take away from this? It's what Ime Udoka said after the show. After the I said show because it felt like an opera. It felt like
a clown
tragedy.
show.
If it did feel like a clown show, the circus was in town. He looked to the camera and he said, grow up, because you're not 20, 21 years old anymore. You're guys that you want to prove yourself in the league. I mean, there's guys out there already that are making their impact at a young age. This is a game that you need to win, and the Rockets should be tied 2-2 right now. They won without Kevin Durant in the 4th game.
Yep.
I want to put a little fun fact stat. LeBron James has been in 56 series in his playoff career. Out of all of those teams that he has been on for those series, the starting 5 that the current Lakers have right now, without Luka Doncic and without Austin Reeves, they have the 3rd highest field goal percentage.
I mean, they're shooting the lights
every
out.
starting 5 that LeBron James has been a part of in the playoffs.
That's been a huge reason why they won.
Means that as great as LeBron has been for the first 3 games of the series, game 4 he had 8 turnovers and 10 points.
Yeah, he struggled in game 4.
Luke Kennard looked like prime Clay, and Marcus Smart looked like the DPOY that he deserved. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, as much as I think LeBron James might actually be the GOAT, this series, the MVP of this series has been Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is the reason why that they have been up, that they have had the defensive presence that they've had, the amount of intangibles, the amount of sparks that they get in this game, the momentum switches in this series is all been the story about Marcus Smart, a guy that got signed over on the trade deadline. Everybody was saying, "Oh, it's Marcus Smart. Who cares?" Dude, 25 points in one of those games, 17 points in another game, and 10 assists in the last game. Bro, Marcus Smart has been on a heater, and I don't want to hear anyone take away from what he's been doing this series because it's insane.
No, and I think there's a few things. For me, I still think LeBron's been the most valuable player.
I mean, yeah, he leads every stat.
Yeah,
sure.
and like the offense runs through him. It's the reason they're creating such good looks is because these elbow touches, which I just think it's been super interesting. They've kind of played him like the Nuggets play Jokic. They especially early in the series, they were going away from the high pick and roll and going more towards those elbow touches for Braun and the post touches, letting him create because the Rockets got to bring a double in the post. Let one of the greatest passers of all time make the right decision. But Marcus Smart has been like the difference because he's played that far above
the heart and soul of Boston is now the heart and soul of LA.
And another thing that I saw that was it just shows like the little things that Marcus Smart always has done right. Before the Reed Shepherd play, he goes up to the ref, tells the ref, "We are not fouling here. We're trying to steal the ball. Don't blow your whistle too early. We're not trying to foul." He goes to the ref, he tells him that. And that's probably part of the reason that steal is not, blown prematurely as an intentional foul on Braun, right?
Oh, jeez.
So it's those little things, those little leadership things that the Lakers do have with Marcus Smart and Braun that have really propelled them. And then, yes, they've shot the ball extremely well, but part of it has been just creating really good looks.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of half and half. But yeah, this Lakers team's been fun to watch, honestly. It's been fun. And yeah,
ridiculous.
Ime's got to go, right? I think we can all maybe agree that Ime's got to go.
I think that no matter what happens, this series, Rockets at 7. I truthfully, on a real note, I think that this team needs to keep Ime Udoka, but the thing that needs to happen is what I've been seeing online is like, oh, KD's out, blah, blah, blah. No. There's two only things that can only happen right now is that you run it back next year because you didn't see the true version of your team.
You didn't see Fred VanVleet and you haven't seen Steven Adams.
Yeah. Or you trade your young core for a superstar. And what do I mean by that?
Giannis.
You only trade Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., maybe a pick. You get Giannis. KD and Giannis, Fred VanVleet, Steven Adams, Amen Thompson. That's a squad that can maybe get it done. But there's no other alternative. You don't get a guy that's a star player, Devin Booker or whatever. It's superstar or run it back.
Yeah, I think you see what it looks like till the deadline. I think you run. You make an off-season move here or two, get some depth at the guard position because you don't know what could happen. I mean, you don't want to go into the postseason and Fred goes down or Reed goes down. You got to have at least a backup option at the guard position.
That's fair.
So
Reed Shepherd needs to do something in the gym.
Something for the Rockets, I think they don't necessarily need to make huge changes until the deadline. But I think the one off-season change that it's yes or no, I think I think Ime has to go. I think especially with Mazzulla coming in, I think Mazzulla takes some of his credibility as that Celtics run away from Ime Udoka in hindsight, which feels unfair.
You know what I will agree about? How in the world do you? So mind you, the last time when the only game that Kevin Durant played, it was just like the regular season when the two games that they matched up with them, they ran the double man action on Kevin Durant. So yeah, the last team that did that was the 2022 Celtics.
Yeah.
That did that against Kevin Durant, who was the coach of the Celtics was Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
And the guy that was doubling KD was Marcus Smart. Ime Udoka, what are you doing? That is like if the Karate Kid got kicked in the face by his own move. If he got crane kicked in the dome, that does not make any sense how you don't have a solution to the defensive scheme that you created.
Especially after that same scheme shut down KD and the Rockets earlier in the season.
Yes!
At the end of the year, JJ Redick does this exact same thing. I mean,
he did in back-to-back games against the Lakers. He doubled KD, and KD looked atrocious in those two games, and they lost. But those games were also with Luka and with Reeves, if I'm not mistaken. And so
I don't know how he didn't see this. How do you not have
absolutely
when JJ brought that out? It felt like the Rockets were like, "Whoa, we have no answer for this. Let's try to answer this next game." How do you not have an answer prepared for that? Because you saw them do it twice to you in the regular season.
I don't.
That's where I don't think Ime is I think Ime Udoka doing the things he did in Boston was the biggest blessing.
How do you
the Celtics,
along, man?
The biggest blessing the Celtics could have asked for, man. I mean, Mazzulla falling in their lap because Udoka's got to go because he's doing some crazy stuff. That's the best thing that could have happened to the Celtics.
Yeah, whether or not you agree why he got fired or let go or that story got publicized, I mean, yeah, it seems like Mazzulla's cruising and Ime is still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. He's a great coach on one side, but he just has to be okay on the other side. And he hasn't shown it.
Yeah, I think now what we're seeing is that Kevin Durant's probably going to be out for Game 5.
Well, he's going to be out the rest of the series.
Potentially out the rest of the series.
Injury, so there's no way.
I mean, maybe if they stretch it out. This is the only thing I'll say. Game 5 is a must-win for the Lakers. And I know everybody's like, oh, it should be a must-win for the Rockets. Clearly. Well, duh. No, Game 5 is a must-win for the Lakers. Because we just saw a sneak peek. We just saw a sneak peek of what the Rockets are doing right for them to win a game. They should be tied 2-2, but they're not. The Lakers are starting to not shoot it as well as they started the series.
Yeah.
And when Amen Thompson is on the floor, the Rockets are up. The few minutes that he's off the floor, they're not winning. Amen Thompson is probably going to play 48 minutes the next game. And not to mention, Tari Eason shot pretty lights out for the last game, and he just had a workout with Lethal Shooter. I guess the mom.
Man, we're reaching. We're coping now.
I guess his mom really did reach out and connect with him.
That's good.
But if Tari Eason can actually make a perimeter shot, if you have more than just Jabari Smith and Reed Shepherd making perimeter shots, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Now, again, win game 5. The rest is, the rest. I feel like you can just. It's a dice roll for me, and I know it sounds crazy. LeBron James is not going to be the first player to be down 3-0 and lose in a playoff series. Anything can happen.
I agree that anything can happen, but it's the reason we've never seen a 3-0 comeback happen is because all it takes is one off night.
It just takes one off
one
night.
Off
yeah.
night. I mean, it could be.
But the Rockets did before the end of the season. They went 9-1. They went 9-1.
Yeah, it's just
so it's possible. For them
all
to
it takes, but all it takes is one Luke Kennard 40 bomb. You're like, what in the world is this? Or one time Braun goes out there and doesn't miss a 3, and
Cobra Kai. Yeah, that's
it's so hard to win 4 straight. I mean, especially like as a reverse sweep because it's just like your back's against the wall the whole time. It's exhausting.
But you know what your mindset is, and JJ Redick said it is like it's hard to kill someone. Because it's like you have to put them away and you have to keep the foot on their neck. And as easy as it is to be just like we only got one more, there's a lot of pressure in this game 5 because game 6 going back to Houston's gonna have to show out, and then game 7, who knows what happens?
Yeah, the hard part though is even if you win a game or 2. It's exhausting to just feel pressed up against the wall that whole time because even when it's like, we just got 2 straight, there's a chance it's like every night you're going out there and your stars are playing 48 minutes because this is an elimination game and
could potentially get injured.
And Braun is not going to go out there and play 48 minutes because it's not yet an elimination game for them. And that means just like as you push it further and further down the line, like I think the advantage builds up for just one game to go the Lakers' way. And that's why we just don't see these reverse sweeps.
Yeah. Until then, man.
The true difference in the series has been shooting.
Yes.
Like we said, Luke Kennard. I mean, Marcus Smart in game 2 had what, like
he had
5 threes?
25 points on 5 threes. Bro.
Yeah, and just...
Rui Hachimura's been like a mid-range master.
He's been great.
DeAndre Ayton. I will say that DeAndre Ayton ejection was kind of... it was kind of soft.
Even Şengün said, like, that was soft. I didn't think he deserved to be ejected.
I didn't like that. I also didn't like the Laker rookie getting ejected as well. Didn't make any sense. So, again, more stuff with the refs. But yeah, it's all about shooting. But, now we're up to date on just what happened on that weekend. Stuff real quick throughout the league. I mean, if you want to just look at the series, Thunder, they move on to the next round. Lakers, Rockets, 3-1. Spurs, Trailblazers, currently happening. It looks like the Spurs are going to close out this game unless something crazy happens after this third quarter. They're up 83-61.
Damn.
Nuggets, Timberwolves. I think that's going to be the next thing I want to talk about. Minnesota leads 3-2.
Can they close it out?
Magic Pistons Magic are up 3-1.
Pistons suck, man. The Pistons suck.
Wow, Wemby has only shot 5 field goals tonight.
Who?
Wemby. He's only taken 5 shots.
Really?
He's
generating all the scores.
He has 9 points on 4 for 5 shooting in 21 minutes. Stephon Castle has 15. He's their leading. Stephon Castle has 15, and Julian Champagny has 16, and that is where they're getting the scoring. They're just spreading it.
Everyone has like Vassell has 8, Champagny has 16, Wemby has 10.
That's team
Fox
basketball.
has 8, Castle has 15.
Not the way that the Pistons.
Cornette has 5,
playing.
Harper has 12, Keldon has 7. Like everyone's playing well, and Wemby's just not a guy who's gonna like. I mean,
he said it. He doesn't need to be offensively.
The further ahead they are, the less he plays on the less he
This is what the Spurs have been all year long. Like they've been a Wemby-centric team on the defensive end, but Wemby hasn't had to score. That's why he's averaging 24 points on the season, because he doesn't have to be a superstar on offense because they spread the ball so well, and they're such a deep team from their whole rotation 1 through 9 that they can score every night like this and win games.
Yeah, and they can, but when the moment is is bright, and when
It will be Wemby's ball, but
Wemby
they just don't
on the
need him to do
offensive
that
ball.
most
Yeah.
nights.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're playing more team basketball than the Detroit Pistons are. I will say before it's all over, the last time that the Detroit Pistons were down 3-1 as the first seed, it was 2002, and they won the championship. So,
How many players from that team are on the roster right now?
So none of them.
Okay.
But
Just wanna make sure.
do you believe in a little Detroit basketball miracle?
I don't.
I believe they
suck,
will
man.
win. I believe they will win Game 5 and get closed out in Orlando. in 6.
101.5 offensive rating is disgusting.
It is.
Like,
It is
it's
disgusting.
just
Their
gross.
defense-
Jalen
their-
Duren, man.
Jalen Duren is disappointed, and he's being exposed on national television. I'm disappointed. I
Jalen
believe
Duren
in it.
is the reason they're losing the series.
One
Yeah.
of them. I
I would say
I
he's
would
the
say.
main.
I also think that they're really missing.
it's the
Malik
it's the
Beasley.
roster construction
Like
too.
they can't do anything about the
They
Malik
can't.
Beasley thing.
We
but-
told you this. They
Yeah.
can't shoot.
They can't shoot.
They can't
I-
shoot.
I actually watching. I felt honestly like I came into it. The reason they were going to lose was because they can't shoot. And yes, they haven't shot well. Now I think the reason they are losing is because they don't have anyone to create shots. It's Cade,
It's Cade.
and that's it.
No one.
And then that's the reason
Tobias Harris, maybe.
Jenkins has to play so many minutes because he has the ability to create a shot, and he hasn't been a positive player for them.
Yeah.
But they have to put him on the floor because he's creating looks at least, because no one else is. Like, it's just Cade, and
And when
like,
he's out there, their best defensive lineup is not out there.
it's just it's the roster construction, and it's not. They need to pick up some pieces next offseason.
No, for sure.
It's time to start looking to the offseason for Pistons fans.
They do need something to fix it. Even if they get past this first round by a miracle, they need
Yeah.
to do something.
If they get past this first round, I think we can assume Cleveland is coming out. Hopefully, on the
Well,
other side, I think that is going to be
still
a
feel good. I
matchup
still feel good
nightmare
about
for
this
the Pistons.
this especially the way that this is the bracket, the way that the bracket's been formulated. This is no excuse time for Cavalier fans
The only way
to make it to the third.
the only way, like, I think there's a valid excuse for Cleveland to not make a run to the conference finals is like crazy injury, like Donovan Mitchell out.
It
Like,
has to be Donovan Mitchell or James Harden like blows up.
yeah, or like
I think
or like
even if
both the big
Harden-
men or something.
I think
like,
if Harden just himself goes down,
they should still
they
make
should
it.
still probably beat the Magic.
I guess the
assuming
Magic-
And if
are in that
Mobley
spot.
You
or
would
Allen,
think.
either one of them go out, I think
then
they should still
essentially-
go. But if both of them go, or Donovan Mitchell goes, or Harden and one of the bigs, or whatever, like that's where it's like.
if we
oh,
have a
man.
situation like last year where Garland
And
so
Mobley.
like Harden and
And
Mobley are
then
out,
I would be
and
like,
they
oh.
come back and they're still not healthy, then we can give it. But that would be
I guess, but
extremely
but
unfortunate.
I think with this series and Toronto and Cleveland tied 2-2, there's I got some expectations for you. We won't be able to show it to on the show like later, but we'll. Like, I'm a DM you after the season's over. But
I really think, this Cavs team has to win this series, first of all, and then they have to win the next series, regardless of if the Pistons come back or not. They're a better team than both those next teams. They need to prove it. They need to come out here. It's honestly proving grounds for Mitchell, for Atkinson, for Mobley, for Harden, even at this point in his career. It's everybody, and so I really do think it will happen. I still think Cavs in 6 in this series. And then
I hope so.
I think next series goes even better because they're prepared to play against a scheme like the Magic or Pistons, regardless of who they play. They played the other most similar team to them.
I
right?
would argue that if the Raptors beat the Cavaliers, it would be more shocking than the Magic beating. the
Oh
Pistons.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that we've all known, except you, because you're the Pistons going to the finals. I'm just kidding, but
No, that's.
I think we've
it's
seen
okay.
the Pistons-
Edward can mourn with me as well.
the Pistons are not a true 60-win team. Obviously, they got there, but
They're just not a postseason team.
I think we're seeing now
They're a
the
regular
effect.
season
We're seeing
team.
now the effect of playing a team 7 times in a row and not playing different opponents on a night-to-night basis. I think we're just seeing that, and we're seeing how when playoff basketball comes around, you need to have, like you said, more shot creators, because you can't just rely on one dude We saw that in game 1. Cade had 40, and they still lost by 20
You got to
points.
feel for Cade.
It's
man.
ridiculous.
You have to feel for Cade.
This
because
is
none of this can be blamed
the
on
only player
Cade.
you cannot blame in this entire situation is Cade. Cade has done.
I would
For sure.
even argue like there's other players who are playing their role correctly.
Tobias Harris is playing his role.
They're
correctly.
playing a bunch of guys are playing their roles, but they just don't have a team. They don't have a constructed roster with all the roles filled. Like they
I
just
don't
have
know.
missing
Yeah.
roles.
I don't know how this team won 60
It's that defense is special, and those are the like, and Cade is special, and that can win you 60 games.
It
But
can.
then once that team is scheming against you, it's so hard.
That's just how I know that the Eastern Conference, you can't trust anything that happens in the Eastern
Defense can
Conference.
only do so much for you in the playoffs when your offense on the other side is abysmal.
Yeah, seriously.
And I mean, the Magic, if they win this series and they don't pick it up like magically on offense,
Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic.
You know, it's very ironic that the Magic have had like a few disappointing seasons. You could say of being like not disappointing because they were low seeds, but just like we've had higher expectations for them coming into each season.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
they've been-
I still
they've
don't
been
think
seventh.
that the picks for
This year
Desmond
was so
Bane was
disappointing for them.
I don't think
And
the
I think
picks for
it's
Desmond
so
Bane was
ironic
worth it.
that the most disappointing year they're gonna get their first series win.
Yeah.
It's very ironic.
That's
but if
ridiculous.
they win this series and they don't pick up their offense, they will be in the last, I forget how many years it is. It's a lot of years. The worst offense in a lot of years to win a playoff series.
Jeez.
105 net rating on offense, which is gross.
Oh,
But the Pistons are at 101.
oh
So
my gosh.
for the series,
They're getting
correct?
Atlanta. They're getting Atlanta Hawks 2017 comps right now.
I mean, it's been gross. But
Yeah. Moving on actually to the Hawks next series. New York, they
Big
won their
game
game.
5.
Big
Big.
game 5. Karl Anthony Towns, first playoff career triple-double.
That's huge.
Great game. I actually didn't get to catch the game, but I do know that this series, no matter what, I said Knicks in 7. And, you know, all those Knicks fans that said that this
Okay,
series can't go
Hawks in
7
7.
games, this series is close.
Yeah.
They can't be afraid of them anymore. They have to be afraid of them now because they can't take them easily anymore.
Yeah.
They are a team to be scared of.
Yeah.
And the Knicks, man, you go ahead.
I think we saw in game 2 just how, the Knicks had it and they gave it away and they got surprised. And then in game 3, they go into Atlanta thinking, okay, this is our time to pivot, get it back on our side. And then the Hawks take the lead and you're really worried. And so you see that veteran presence took over, just give it a Brunson, Cat. Those two, the last 2 games have taken over. OG has been arguably one of the more valuable players in this series.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges still having a disappointing series. I didn't really see how he did for tonight's game. But like you said, just a huge bounce back for them just to kind of get shocked by the Hawks. We knew that they were going to come out with a lot of energy. They're one of the younger teams in the league. I think probably the youngest in the playoffs besides maybe San Antonio.
They were definitely one of the most unproven teams, but especially like just the middle of the season, they got rid of Trae Young. And
Yeah, just to revamp and be in this position is awesome. I mean, I think Game 6 obviously going to be a huge game. We're going to have to see how they show up. There's going to be a lot of pressure on them to perform in their house.
there's going to be a lot of pressure on.
This is the type of moment where young players on that team, they lose it. And that's okay. You have a bright future. I said a few weeks ago, this is like I think the Pistons were last year. They lost to the Knicks in 6 after
they
having
found Jonathan Kuminga before Steve Kerr did.
They did.
They had a good series against the Knicks. They gave them some trouble. I'm sure the Knicks are going to pull it out, I think, on Thursday in Game 6. But I think next year the Hawks are going to be in position like the Pistons are now, maybe a top 3 or 2 seed in the East.
They should be where the expectations were for the Magic last year, if I'm being totally honest. Maybe not finals bound, but they have the possibility to knock off some teams in this early first or second round. I mean, they are playing at an elite level. The Celtics.
I want to, before we move on,
Yeah.
shout out to our again #1 fan, Kobe Cruz, Knicks fan.
Yes.
Feed the cat. I agree.
The kitty cat.
Obviously Jalen Brunson was the best player today. He was.
He's saying
absurd.
that with Bridges.
That's what this
that
team
trade
needs.
was a mistake.
But
agree.
Cat is the key to this team right now because Brunson's gonna get his. Brunson's gonna create his. But the offense is honestly looking best when Cat is schemed the ball because Cat doesn't necessarily get his own, but
No.
when the scheme is drawn up for Cat to get some buckets, like He's going to get you buckets. And he creates better looks than Brunson. Like, Brunson makes tough shots.
Scores quietly, for sure. I mean, I think you saw that with the Minnesota series in 2024. He was a quiet scorer, but there were impactful moments where he was important.
And when he's firing offensively, that's when you see the best defensive version of Cat too.
Yeah,
and
he
so
gets fired up.
You need to get him, especially early, get him locked into games, get him touches. Like Kobe said, feed the cat, because that's how you unlock him, and you need him at a 1A level. You need him to be on par with Jalen Brunson to like win the East. If that's your goal, is to win the Eastern Conference, Cat needs to be on the level of Jalen Brunson, needs to be that 1B to his 1A.
Yeah, he can't be a 2. He can't be a 2.
He needs to be a 1A if they want to win this conference. And then I agree also, I mean, 5 picks for Bridges was just terrible.
Yeah.
Bad.
He said he is our anchor on defense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw, but what Joel Embiid did to the Celtics today. Calm little 33. I think, obviously, you want to keep your head in this series if you're Cat. But I think looking ahead to Boston, Cat should be getting excited. I think if the Knicks have one path to beating Boston in a series, like we just said, it is going to be Cat. We know Brunson is going to be able to get his own.
I mean, even
on a Peyton Pritchard type player. You hope he's going to average about 28 a night in that series. But if you want that chance of beating the Celtics in back-to-back years, Cat is going to have to step it up. And we know he has his limitations on the defensive end. But if he can attack the paint, but also pose as a threat on the three-point line like we saw Embiid do tonight, and like we know Cat can do, the Knicks can absolutely take that series.
No, for sure. I mean, I just want to touch real quick on the Celtics series. I want to make an apology to Joel Embiid because I said on the other show on yesterday that the Sixers should have played. They should have just never cleared Joel Embiid. I thought that they were better off without him. I thought they were rolling better without him. I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
He looked good.
He looked good. He didn't look like the Joel Embiid that is a hindrance on his team.
Well, he went out early in the game, and then he had to come back in and step it up even more.
And I think that this Celtics team needs to be scared. Jason Tatum, 0 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, like, yes, he's putting up the points, but again,
still their leading scorer.
It's the field goal percentage, and it's the way that he just can't perform the way that we expect him to. Jaylen Brown, not his best game.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's got to be better today.
He's got to be better. He's got to be the MVP candidate that he knows he is.
I mean, they lost it in the fourth quarter. Obviously, like you said, not getting enough scoring from Brown and Tatum then, but you go into the fourth quarter and you're up 1, and you end up losing that game by 16. That cannot happen for a veteran team. You know,
and again, they're living and dying by the 3, which I said. I understand that you need a scheme to remain true to because it can work. It is the most efficient shot, but clearly when it didn't work, they needed some change.
I mean, they definitely do need change, but yeah, I mean, I agree with like the sentiment of what you're saying. Like they have to have a backup option, and I think that backup option has fallen to Brown and Tatum. Mm-hmm. They need to have a real backup scheme when the 3 isn't falling.
Yeah.
But I still think overall the scheme is just effective because when I think they're on more often than they're off, and when they're on, like it is. I don't think I've watched so many games of my Cavaliers against the Boston Celtics. We have never once beat the Celtics when they were on from 3.
Yeah, I mean they're insane.
They're crazy.
Yeah, I mean
that's insane. Hey, Kobe Cruz.
Their problem tonight, as it's been in the series.
Tatum's Achilles again.
Wow. Derek White, man. 36 minutes,
terrible.
Third most on the team. He has had an awful series.
He's been terrible.
And again,
you want to say that this team goes with their stars, but really, they do rely on a Peyton Pritchard, on a Derek White. Because
those two.
Derek White goes 0 for 4, 2 for 8, 6 points in 36 minutes. That cannot happen again.
It can't happen. When you're doing that, you're putting pressure on Jason Tatum, who just recovered from his Achilles.
And Derek White, I think, has been the reason the Celtics have struggled the most. Like, he's not he has just been the one playing
I'll say this,
below his expectations.
If Derek White has a bad playoff series like this year and maybe another one in the next coming year, do you protect him in a
Absolutely.
draft?
It depends
I
on
don't
many
know.
players, but absolutely.
His defensive impact is still
He is still
crazy.
the third best player on this team. Let's get that straight right now.
Oh yeah,
He is.
Yeah,
And
he needs to play like it in this
I think we've
postseason.
seen why that his 2 worst games this series have been the 2 games they lost. Because although Brown and Tatum give them that efficiency, like we said, he'll always bring on the defensive end, but they do rely on him they try to pencil in 20 points per game. And obviously, he is one of their better 3-point shooters. And so if you're going to have a night where a bucket cannot fall for him, we see the issues that they struggle
Yeah,
with.
because he can't get to the rack because the size that Philly now has, it's creating issues for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick, I want to circle in on. I want to magnify this series of Minnesota-Denver.
Yes, best series we got right now.
Best series we got.
So unfortunate.
The 3-6
the
matchups have been
injuries.
very good.
They've been fantastic. Shout out to Dante DiVincenzo.
Hate seeing
Big loss at
injuries
the
like
beginning
this.
of the game. You can't really control that. It's huge.
Ant's injury was nasty.
And Anthony Edwards,
It's just
brutal injury.
Not something you ever want to see as an NBA fan. Like
I'm thankful it wasn't an ACL or a meniscus.
I'm glad that that's something that if they do lose this series, which we'll talk about, but if they do, like I do think a full off season and Ant will be back. I don't think he'll be hindered by this
No,
injury.
I don't think so either. I think Ant's going to come back stronger than ever. I mean, we saw Giannis. He had the same injury back when they won the championship, and he came back, a little bit later. Again, they're built differently. They have different body compositions, but if he still put up 50 points in the NBA Finals. So like, if the Timberwolves can get past them, I think there is a chance that Anthony Edwards can still find a way. But it was in the other knee that wasn't the runner's knee, so it's still luck of the draw when it comes to that. But what I want to emphasize here, even if the Nuggets make it past this series, it doesn't move the needle at all for what I'm about to say. Nikola Jokic, you are a fraud. You are a fraud.
Far.
We all almost bought into it. I almost bought into it. You are a fraud, Nikola Jokic. In the last 3 games before Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, two important players went out of this series. You have it. The Timberwolves had 3 players shoot above 40% in Game 4. 3 players over 40%, and they still won. Why? Because Ayo Dosunmu, off the bench, a guy that wasn't even starting in Chicago, gave you 43 points on 13 for 17 shooting, took it to the rack, took it to your face, said, I don't care who you are, I'm that guy, move out of the way. And what did you do before Game 5? 3 games in a row where Jokic can't shoot above 40% from the field. We could talk about the role players. We could talk about how Christian Braun has his defensive struggles now, and that contract is looking more nasty by the minute. We can talk about David Adelman and his terrible switches that they've been making, not been able to get it to work with Jokic getting the right switch. We can also talk about Cam Johnson and how clearly Michael Porter Jr. is the better player, and that he would be shooting more than 6 shots a game when the moment really matters. We can talk about how Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert have been running the double man action.
Elite defender, one of the greatest defenders to ever play the game.
Rudy Gobert, he has been playing great. He has been playing great. And before I let you hit the floor, there's just more I gotta say. That was the one game that should have been for sure winnable, because all things that you need to transcend all those obstacles is the offensive players on your team. I don't care about Jamal Murray. I could give an F about Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray has shown this in his entire playoff career. His inconsistency. He's either an insane playoff riser or he's given you terrible efficiency. I don't really care. I can't judge him. Nikola Jokic, when you have to score on real size and on actual competitive defenders, you can't do it. You can't do it when you can't get a switch. You can't do it when you are living in an era of basketball. We are seeing in an era of basketball where there's tons of switches happening on centers that you can't score on competitive defense. It's clear that it's not a narrative because you all saw it. I all saw it. We're all seeing it with our own eyes. You know, McDaniels called you out as well. Before in game 2, he called you a new you-know-what. And then after the game, he gets a layup after the game. You get mad, and then you pull him by the jersey, and he said, "Do something about it." And then you want to talk trash after Anthony Edwards and Donte DiVincenzo, 2 core guys, are out, and then you want to play a little joke at the end of the last game? Give me a break. Everything about what Jaden McDaniels said about you is true. And if we look about Nikola Jokic and what he's done in the past, you cruise through a postseason against questionable comp where you didn't beat in a 50-win season against any team. You beat up on teams in the regular season that can't match with your size, and now you play in a postseason with legitimate defenders and you crumble. It's all-time defense. It's all-time defenders. Rudy Gobert, he shocked me. But that is the defender that if you're so great offensively, you need to score on.
Not sure.
Chet and company last year. It doesn't matter. When you have competitive defense, people that can actually not let you score because they're 5 feet shorter than you, you can't do it. And I'm tired of people saying this about Nikola Jokic, that he's a legend, that his value really matters to his team. We would not be giving the same credit to other legends. We would not be doing this to LeBron James, to the Tim Duncans, to the Kobe Bryants, just ignoring field goal percentage. When it's a team that you doesn't have their core players in the game and you have comparable defenders, you cannot go 1 for 10 in the second half.
I agree.
He's been awful this series, and no one's arguing that he hasn't been. And I think a lot of people have given him flack, but calling him a fraud is crazy.
He is a fraud
because we've seen him do it for years. Like I understand a bad series. Like, he deserves criticism. He is the reason the Nuggets are losing this series. 100%.
Yeah,
agreed. Couldn't agree more.
And if they get past the series, it doesn't move the needle.
Could not agree more.
Because they're going to play Wemby in the Spurs later on that actually have comparable defenders.
And then what if he balls out against them?
He won't. He'll crumble.
But we've seen him do it before. Like,
we haven't seen him do it against defenders like this before.
He
didn't
is
beat
a 60% true shooting.
He didn't beat above a 50-win team the year that he won the championship. The times that he's actually had to perform well, we've seen him play against
you can't say it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter though. He played
get defended well, and they still score.
Okay, well, even if he didn't play above a 40-win team,
like one series doesn't change that, and that's all I'm saying.
No. I listen. This what I'm about to say is that when we talk about, like, you know, the great players that are in the league, the top 3 players, you know, like that we've seen in every era, whether it's 2010s, 2000s, whatever. This era of basketball has got to have the worst top 3 players of all time in the current best top 3 players in the league, because Nikola Jokic doesn't hold anything to the guys like Tim Duncan, to the Shaquille O'Neals, to the Steph Currys, even, that what they provide is better than any good or comparable defender can bring against them.
Jokic does the same thing. He's been a matchup nightmare for defenses his whole career because he's the greatest passer of his position.
He's clearly
been the most efficient scorer. He's having a bad series, but he's been the most efficient scorer in history, other than Wilt Chamberlain, who doesn't count, because Wilt Chamberlain, can we agree that those are like
Chamberlain played against
inflated,
scrubs.
ridiculous numbers? But he's the most efficient scorer in history, as
era,
well as being one of the best passers ever.
That switches all the time on centers. Every single coach that he's had between David Adelman and Mike Malone always gives him the switch.
And
He scores because they can't guard him. They're players that can't guard him. That's the reason why he's so great.
Is the reason Steph Curry scores because no team has good enough screen navigators?
No, because he's better than that. We know that Steph Curry can surpass, can transcend great defenses.
Steph Curry needs the screens, which isn't a bad thing. That's not something that hurts his legacy. Players score in certain ways, and if that's one of the ways, exploiting mismatches is the way that bigs have always scored in NBA history. That's how bigs score.
He's one of the best offensive players we've ever seen.
But he's
if you consider his passing
against what
and
competition? Against what competition? You're seeing it right now on national television.
He plays every team every year. Just because he's had one bad series doesn't
Last
take
year,
away.
he played against good defense against Chet.
He played against the best defense in the league.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I didn't scratch anything of that. I said all-time defenses, but what I'm saying is if your thing is being one of the best all-time offensive weapons in history, then you can score above good defenders. Can you not?
Yes, you can, and that's why when you go against the Miami Heat, who made an entire run based on their defense because Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, two of the best defenders in the league, carried this defense, and he
they ran through the East because of their defense. They
ran through the East because Jimmy Butler was having the best playoff moment of his career.
He runs through AD that year too.
And let's not forget the fact
we're the best defense in the league.
Let's not forget the fact that Nikola Jokic has to use Aaron Gordon as a crutch to hide his terrible defense, which makes his value on the team even more questionable. Because why are you the anchor of the defense? The center on your team, you can't let a guy like Ayo Dosunmu score on 43 on your head.
No one's saying he's a good defender.
But it has to justify. If you're not justifying with your defense, you have to justify it with your offense.
He wasn't the main person guarding Ayo Dosunmu.
Ayo Dosunmu had 13 for 17. He was taking it to the rack most of the time.
He also was 5 for 5 on 3. So that's on the perimeter defenders.
But you have to take it to the paint too. He was scoring on Jokic. So we see this. We saw it last year when Shea was scoring on Jokic. Obviously, Shea and Ayo are two completely different players, but that should tell you the story more. Nikola Jokic can't do well against good defenders.
No, Nikola Jokic absolutely cooked Anthony Davis.
He's showcasing everything.
He cooked Bam Adebayo.
Can we talk about Jamal Murray in that Lakers series?
Yes,
can we talk about
Jokic in that Lakers series as well?
Okay, and then who did he play? What amazing defenders did he play later?
Are you saying Jamal Murray has no blame in this series as well?
No, because I already told you he's so inconsistent that we don't care.
Jamal Murray's
is
not
supposed to be the best player in the world.
Let's not talk about Jamal Murray
He's
now.
the best player in the world, right?
Let's not talk about Jamal Murray
O'Neal, right? So if he's all these things, then we need to admit that Nikola Jokic is not the guy that we envision. He's not the guy that we talk about.
He's having a terrible series.
He's having a terrible series, and it's the same reflection of what he is. He can't do jack against good defenders. He can't do jack against
That's not
anything.
true.
It's literally, we're all seeing the same game.
I've seen Ben Wallace lock up Shaq for a series. It happens. Great defenders against great offensive players. Great defenders can have the advantage sometimes. Rudy Gobert is one of the best defenders of all time. That is a fact. He has 4 defensive player of the years.
He's not.
He is objectively bigger than Jokic.
Again, you're Nikola Jokic. If you
can have a bad series,
you're allowed, like that happens.
Fraud. He was a fraud this year. He was a fraud last year.
No, he was. How was he a fraud last year?
His championship run, he didn't beat a 50-win team.
But he played the best team. The Lakers the Lakers after the trade deadline were the best record in basketball.
Yeah, again.
And Anthony Davis was at the time the best big defender in the league.
You want to talk about best
player? He destroyed him.
The Heat beat the Celtics. The Heat ran through the Knicks.
The Miami Heat Denver Nuggets final series was one of the worst finals that we've ever seen
because we knew how Jokic was so good.
We knew how no diff the comp was. We knew that.
But you can't say that because
Caleb Martin was almost the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Are we serious right now?
Because he played well.
He played well. Caleb Martin.
But you can't take
Gabe Vincent.
You can't take away from that because they were a great team.
It's not comparable comp.
That's not true.
It's not comparable comp.
They were an NBA Finals team. You can't take away from that.
Yes, you can.
How?
Yes, you can.
Why?
They were the 8th seed.
But they beat the 1st seed, and then they beat the 4th seed, and then they beat the 2nd seed.
They beat a Milwaukee Bucks team with no Giannis for 3 of those games.
For 2 of those games.
They almost lost a 3-0 lead against the Celtics.
But
how many games with Giannis did the Bucks win in that series? 0.
But okay,
and the Heat Bam Adebayo was an all-NBA defensive player. Like, he was all defensive team because he was one of the best defending bigs in the league. But no, Jokic can't score on a big. That's not true.
Bam Adebayo win the defensive player of the year that year?
No, but he
still
was
an
all defensive team.
No, okay. When we talk,
That's a top 15 defender in the league.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Was he
There's
second
only
team?
two second. There's
Yeah.
only two defensive teams.
Yeah. And again, I'm gonna remind you, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and friends. That was the comp that they were playing.
But they ran through the East.
But your argument, okay, but Tony,
if I dropped like right now on just a random team,
you keep changing your argument, Tony.
The best defenders.
You keep changing your argument.
And I don't keep changing
Yes,
my
you
argument.
do.
If I drop
Because
the best defenders,
first you're telling me. First you're telling me no. Because first you're telling me
if you put the best defenders in the league on one team and took the worst offense in the league on that team and you put them together, of course they're gonna beat that team.
But it wasn't about beating them. It was about Jokic playing extremely well on the offensive end of the floor. Jokic was great offensively against Bam Adebayo, who you just said he can't score on great defensive bigs.
And the series before, he did it against Anthony Davis.
He did it back-to-back series. Anthony
Davis
has all defensive teams, yes.
The best defensive showcases in Anthony Davis's career was his New Orleans days up to his first year in LA. After that, we literally saw him get gamed on by Jamal Murray.
You can get a game winner and be a good defender.
Wait, yeah. One score doesn't matter.
When the moment matters, of course.
Is Paul George not a great defender? Because one of the best perimeter defenders of our generation, because Dame hit a step back three on him.
Is he an all-time defender?
Yes.
No, he's not an all-time defender.
Paul George was one of the best.
He had an MVP season for 1 year. And Paul George is a very good two-way player. Yes,
he was consistently one of the best defenders in the league, perimeter defenders.
Yeah.
For 10 plus years.
A one-game winner does not make you a bad defender.
Jamal Murray
but we've seen Anthony
Jamal
Davis
Murray
get,
hit a
put in-
great
put in
step back
positions-
shot because Anthony Davis made it hard on him.
We've seen Anthony Davis get put in. We've seen him get put in positions where he needs to be the one. They're just the one stop that they need. And he can't do it against Steph Curry. He can't do it against Jamal Murray. He can't do it against Why are these AD the worst example of a guy that is considered a good defender as your guy to
tell me
to
a
be
defender that's
your
never gotten taken advantage of like once or twice.
That's what the NBA does.
So far, the Nuggets have showcased that Nikola Jokic is going to get past this series because some of the most important players on the Minnesota Timberwolves are out, and Rudy Gobert is not going to give you enough offense to justify his defense for winning games anymore. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to see another Ayo Dosunmu game. He's not as valuable as what people should be saying, and I'm tired of it. We bought into this 5 years ago. We talk about real legends of the game. You need a 10-year window.
He's a top 5 center of all time.
No, he's not.
Yes,
he's not. He's not. And
he is arguably already a top 20 player all time.
No. And you're seeing why right now.
Why? Because he has 3 MVPs and he has a ring and he has a finals MVP.
And
one series takes away.
And again,
not even one series. 3 games.
How many of those top 20 guys don't have series where they get destroyed?
He was favorited this year. He was favorited last year. He was favorited the year before.
Favorited for what?
They were favorited to get out of the first round this year. And then last year they were favorited to beat the Thunder. So again, we have these moments.
They took the Thunder to 7 because of him.
And what happened? They lost.
They did. They still took the Thunder to 7.
They still lost.
Okay, yes, that's fine. But they're going to win this series. And then your argument has to be that they won.
And then what are they going to do against the Spurs?
How about the last 2 times?
Beat the Spurs.
What about the last 2 times they played the Spurs when he played against Wemby and had what did he score on Wemby last time? 40.
They're 3-1 against the Spurs.
We want to go back to the playoff. The playoffs are different than the regular season conversation than we can because
I know, but
we used that example for the Detroit Pistons this year. It can definitely be used.
Wait, is Wemby not the best defender in the league?
He's already the best defender. in the league,
Jokic destroyed him in 3 games this year.
And again, we've seen when the playoffs are in effect right now when Aaron Gordon is not on the court. He's trying to rehab that calf injury still, and he's powering through it just so he can cover up for Nikola Jokic's mistakes. And
Are we talking about defense or offense now?
Defense and offensively. Because Nikola Jokic, the one thing you're supposed to do if you can't defend, you gotta be offensively great, and he's not.
The Nuggets were the best offense in the league.
He hasn't been in this series,
he's not
but you
being
can't
great.
say he's not. He hasn't been in this series, but you can't say he's not offensively great. That's just wrong.
No. He's not being offensively great this season.
No,
this
he hasn't.
series.
But you called him a
But he
fraud.
was.
And he's a fraud. And he's a fraud because when he's actually facing good competition, he fails. He crumbles.
That's just. I mean,
We've seen it.
You
We've
don't
seen it.
When?
You don't.
Besides this series, go.
You don't win
saw it
NBA.
last year.
You don't win an NBA
We saw it
championship.
last year.
You don't win an
They
NBA
took them to
championship
7.
without beating good competition. That's just not true. I don't care.
No, that is true.
That's not
absolutely
true. That's not
is
true.
That is absolutely true.
You're saying you
beat
can't
the teams
beat
who
good
beat
competition.
Other teams like the Heat at that point in time
Won
were the
3
best team in the
series.
East because
Yes.
they just beat everyone in the East. The Lakers were the best. Everyone thought the Lakers were going to go to the finals because they were the best team since the deadline.
let me-
then they
let me
come
ask-
in.
The Lakers were the 7th seed. They destroyed the 2 seed Grizzlies, and then they
Destroyed 'em.
wiped the Warriors in 6 games, who were coming off an NBA championship, by the way. And the Nuggets beat them in guess how many games? 4.
You
they didn't
can't
get a
win.
single win
You
on
can't-
them.
Yeah,
can't
and
win a
again,
series without
and again,
getting good competition
How many
in
wins
the
did they get that
championship.
season? Because that was the
don't-
year
it-
before.
It doesn't,
the year.
it doesn't matter how many wins they got
Of
in the
course it
season.
does, because every season the team changes.
Okay,
No,
but
but
the
the
Lakers
Pistons,
were a
the Pistons
different
are a
team after the
60-win
trade
team.
deadline.
So if
Okay,
if
how
you beat-
great were the Lakers
Okay,
in the
but
trade
if-
deadline if they lost?
They were.
How great were they after the trade deadline if they lost?
Are you saying a
They
team
still
can't
won
be
2
great if they
playoff
lose
series.
a series?
Okay, again, you're not showcasing how great this Lakers team was because they got swept.
Okay, but what happens?
But
what
that's a
happens
testament
if
to how good the
what
Nuggets
happens if the
are.
Thunder lose?
They beat the Warriors that weren't a shadow of who they were the
if
year
the Thunder,
before.
if the Thunder don't lose, are they? Or if the Thunder lose in this playoffs, are they not great? That's a
not-
great team.
That's
If-
not what the
That's what you were
question's
saying.
If
You were
That's
saying
not
they
what
weren't
the
a great
Cavs
team because
like-
they lost.
the Pistons, so they're a 60-win team, so they're great. No matter okay, then let's
You
say
guys just said that they weren't great.
yeah, exactly. That's my argument. Is that you can be a not great team with 60 wins, and you can be a great team with 45 wins because it's when you play them in that point in time. In that point in time, the Heat were the best team in the East. At that point in time, the Lakers were the other best team in the West.
So the Heat, we all at the beginning of the playoffs, we all thought that the Heat were the best team in the East.
No, but they proved to be the best
it
team
during
in
the
the East.
playoffs. That's what the playoffs do.
It doesn't matter what you think before. It's what you see on the basketball court. If they
What-
beat 3 different teams and ran the East into the
At
finals,
that point in time,
you
were they
can't
not
say
better
they
than the
didn't play
Celtics? At that
Do
point
you
in time,
look
were they
at
not
when you
better
look
than the
at
Celtics?
when you look at their roster? When you look at their roster,
It's not about the
who they-
roster.
What do you mean it's not about the
Because
roster?
they won.
We talk about
Tony.
championships. We talk about rings meaning more than other rings. Then we look at the competition that the Nuggets faced in that finals matchup.
Tony,
You
if the Nuggets played the Celtics, would it be competition?
If the
Nuggets in that finals, if the Nuggets played the Celtics instead of the Heat, would that be good competition?
of course it would be.
So then, if
Of
the
course
Heat
it would
beat
be.
the Celtics, how are the Heat not good competition?
Because you look at their roster and you
What?
see
They
Caleb
beat
Martin
them.
being the
They
leading
beat them
scorer.
with Caleb
Where is
Martin.
Caleb Martin right now?
They beat
Where
them.
is Caleb Martin?
They-
Where is Gabe
it doesn't
Vincent?
matter
They beat the
where-
Celtics with them.
Where is Jimmy Butler?
They beat the Celtics with them.
Like I
It doesn't
don't
matter where
I-
they're at now because they beat
does-
the Celtics with them on the team playing that way.
That was
that
the team that
They
beat
beat them in
Celtics.
5 games. They beat them in 5 games.
And that's a testament to how good the
how
Nuggets
competitive-
are.
Playing that well.
How
my God.
how competitive is that matchup if it's a 5-game series?
didn't make it competitive because the Nuggets were that
by
good.
far the best team in the league that year.
Because they played against no 50-win teams that year.
But it's
shocker. When you play bad teams, you win again. You beat them.
all
So
the
if the
50
Magic,
wins-
if the Magic beat the Pistons, a 60-win team, are the Magic all of a sudden the best team in the East because they just beat the 60-win
That's not at all
win
comparable.
totals. Yes, it is
That's
because
not
wins.
at all
I'm just wait. Hold on.
the 50
I'm
win-
just playing to you that win totals are not equivalent to how good a team is at that point in time.
How?
Because do you think the Celtics or the Pistons are a better basketball team right now?
The point that you're failing to understand
you won't answer the question.
The point that you're failing to understand is that the teams when they are for sure it's a toss-up between who's a better team because of record-wise. When you compare the Detroit Pistons and the Celtics,
Cavs and Pistons.
the
Cavs and Pistons.
actual talent that you see on the floor is the same exact reason why you chose the Pistons to lose in the first round. When we talk about the teams that the Nuggets had to play against in their year that they won, the talent was not comparable. It was not comparable to any team that they had played before, just like how you're saying that the talent on the Pistons is not comparable to what they have this year.
You're talking about how they didn't play 51 teams because the 51 teams lost to the teams that the Nuggets ended up beating. Because the teams that beat the 51 teams were better. It doesn't matter how many regular season wins you have. If you beat a team in a series, you are the better team.
If the 2021 Nets were on the opposite side of the bracket and they didn't lose in the second round against the Milwaukee Bucks, would they not be seen as the best team in the East, even though the Milwaukee Bucks are still technically record-wise, whatever you want to say?
What?
You're using the example of they got beat, right?
Yes.
They got beat, so they're the better team.
Yes.
Were the Nets at full strength not a better team than the Milwaukee
But
Bucks?
they didn't lose at full strength.
They lost at half strength.
Exactly. So at
They
that
didn't
point
play
in
full
time,
strength.
again,
we don't know the answer.
we don't know.
Okay, so with that in mind, when you have a team that is talent-wise better than what you would say the comp is normally for a 40, 50 win team, whatever, if the talent is obviously better than the team that you see on the opposite side of the bracket as the fifth or
Who
fourth
wins?
seed,
It doesn't matter
whatever.
what talent
like,
there's, as long as the
of
team
course
wins.
it does.
I care about
we
who
talk.
wins.
We
If
talk
no
about.
one- I came into
We
this-
talk about the way
The
that
Knicks might have more talent than the Celtics, but we think the Celtics could probably win that series. Why? Because they'll play better
when
than
the
them.
Los Angeles Lakers beat the Orlando Magic in 2009, did everybody think that they beat the best team in the East?
I
Go
was
on.
3
I was
years
3
old in
years old.
2009.
Okay,
3
then
years
no,
old.
no, because it was the Celtics and the Cavaliers. So clearly,
Why weren't they there? Why weren't the Celtics and Cavaliers there, Tony?
they lost, but they weren't the best team. They weren't the best team
At that point in time,
the Eastern Conference.
At that point in time, if they beat, I don't know, look, was there injuries involved or was there not?
I can't look that up off the top of my head. But if you're trying to say that
two
there's
teams at full strength play and one team wins, even if they had 15 less wins than the other team, they're better. You know why? Because they beat them in a playoff series.
But you don't believe that.
I do. What do you mean?
When you hunt a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, who have a better record, but then you look at a team that have the Denver Nuggets with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic or whatever, you guys can definitely say are better players
We think
than John Morant and
yes,
Jaren
they're
Jackson
better
Jr.
players, but we don't know for sure that team is better until they beat them in the postseason.
So
I would
So
if the
when we
Pistons.
talk
So
about
I
the
came
better
into this
team is
season.
determined by who wins.
I came into this, for example. If I came into this post, wait, hold
players
on. Can
the
I give
both-
an example?
Go ahead.
If I come into this postseason, right, I have made the claim over and over and over again that the Pistons are not good. I don't think they're very talented. I don't think they're built for the postseason, whatever. And I think the Cavs are more talented than their record shows. If they then meet up in the second round and the Pistons wallop the Cavs, they were obviously the better team. Like they were a better team than the Cavs if they beat us. If the Raptors beat us, they're a better constructed team than we were. We have issues.
The best players on your team is who we choose who's going to be the favorite and who's clearly more favored in this
Which is
matchup.
an issue with NBA culture.
Whoever wins is the true better team. It doesn't matter what you think coming into the series. It's the outcome that matters. It doesn't matter.
7-game series
It doesn't
with
matter that the Heat weren't the most talented team in the East. You know why? Because they ran through it and won.
But if they beat injured teams, how are we supposed to judge them as the best team in the
Okay,
East?
we're not talking about injured teams right now.
Well, that Miami Heat team did beat injured teams. So when
How about the Lakers team? Like that Lakers team was at that time, like they were just like unstoppable. That whole second half of the year, plus the whole first start of the postseason. And
Well, okay, Giannis. Okay, here's the thing though.
That much better.
Here's the thing. Giannis was injured up until Game 4. The Heat won in Game 4 and in Milwaukee in Game 5.
The only game they lost in that series was a Giannis-less game.
They then beat the Knicks full strength. They then beat the Celtics full strength. And then they lost to the Nuggets. You know why? Because the Nuggets were the better team. But that doesn't take away from who the Heat were because the Heat ran through the East.
They beat a healthy Celtics, meaning at that point in time they were the better team than the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
They might not have been more talented, but that's not better.
They were better.
Were the 2022 Dallas Mavericks better than the Suns?
Yep, because they beat them.
Yes. They were less talented, but better. That's like a less talented team can be a better team with good roster construction, good coaching, players who buy into their roles. All these things matter in how good a team is without talent.
But then they lost in what, 4 or 5 games against the Warriors?
Yeah,
because the Warriors were the better team
at that point in time. Yes, they were a better team at that point
If the Warriors played the Suns in the Western Conference match, that would have been a totally different series. That would have been...
It would have been different matchup-wise, yeah, but...
And that means that it's not like for sure guaranteed the better team. That just means that they were the better matchup at the point in time, or they had the better playoff performance.
Matchups do matter.
At the end of the day, whatever team comes out on top is the better team.
And
it's context matters because playoff performances
but Jokic
can make a huge difference.
Has Jokic not had a huge sample of playoff series? A huge sample. Like, he's played great defenders. He's played not great defenders. He's played so many different teams in the playoffs. He has still been a 60% true shooting. He's been over 50% for the field.
Again,
he's been super efficient scorer. He's averaged a triple-double in his postseason career.
In an era, it's not as impressive as Russell Westbrook doing it. And again, in an era where we're constantly getting Jokic easier matchups, like, that doesn't move the needle for me.
Played. Like,
it doesn't move the needle if I can just take automatically like the easiest.
Does not
guy
every
on the
team in the league
on the floor.
Does not every team in the league hunt matchups? Of course they do, because that's how you win games. Every star player.
But then it's not as impressive as you're beating the best defensive guy with your best offensive guy.
You're not trying to be the most impressive. You're trying to win. Every star player.
The point,
Jalen Brunson. But every star player.
But when you
make them worse.
When you have the best defensive guy on your guy and he's still not performing well, then clearly there's something wrong.
Yes, there is something wrong. This series, not with Jokic as a full player. Like,
you can't judge a player based off one series when he's had such a history of winning.
Where's his winning?
He has a ring. He has a Finals MVP.
Playoff series.
I'm not going to backtrack into my previous argument about competition, and I'm just going to talk about what's happening this year. The fact of the matter is that he's seeing good defense and he's not handling it.
Yes, and we aren't disagreeing with that. But you can't take 1 year and see this year and be like, that's his whole legacy. That's just not fair to a player. That's not fair at all.
The 2022 Nuggets, who had 51 wins, there was no Jamal Murray on that team. He did that. Why do you think he was the MVP that season? Because he carried that team to 50. You were talking about 50 wins earlier. He brought a team to 50 wins by himself.
Okay, Russell Westbrook won an MVP as the 6th seed as well. I don't, or as the 4 seed or what kind of seed it was. It was that feat. That feat's impressive in his own right, but it doesn't
won as much as Jokic.
But it doesn't attribute to his performance in the playoffs against good defenders.
Yes, but Jokic just has more good in his career than bad.
So he's just luckier. Is that way? That's what you're saying.
No.
He has more good than
in the
bad.
playoffs. No, in the playoffs, he has played far better than Russell Westbrook ever has. He is.
I'm not comparing him to Russell Westbrook.
But
do you think they lost to the Thunder last year because of him? No.
He was the reason they moved to 7.
Yes, I do, because he couldn't defend. And if you're not defending well, then you got to be offensively greater than your defense, right? You have to put up.
And he was.
You got to put up 40.
He was for the majority of that series.
Last year? The Thunder.
Were way better.
The Nuggets were favored in that year,
but they shouldn't have been. The Thunder were the best.
I don't even know if that's true.
The Thunder,
it is true.
Because
everybody was saying that they're too young and they can't handle.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with talent. That has nothing to do with how good the team is. That was because the NBA doesn't respect teams until they do it, and we see that every year. But new teams have done it every year. Last year, the Thunder were absolutely the best team in the league the entire way through. And they deserve to be the favorites.
The Thunder were favored. They were minus 700 favorites to win that series.
What's the date on that? First of all, when we talk about favorites, we talk about the guy that is arguably we're always talking about Nikola Jokic as he is the best player in the league even today.
Mm-hmm.
And
he has 3 MVPs.
And he has
Steph doesn't have 3 MVPs.
That's fine. MVPs is a regular season award. I'm not talking about regular season. I'm talking about the postseason.
And the postseason is more than just winning a ring. The postseason.
So it's just about like participation trophies?
No, are you saying
it's about winning in the postseason and he's won plenty in the
postseason doesn't matter at all?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
that's what you're implying.
I'm saying that the postseason is what we judge legacies off of. Correct?
Yes, but you can't win a ring every year. You can't go to the finals every year.
But if you're gonna win a ring against questionable competition, and when you're faced with real competition, you can't compete. Then I'm sorry,
He did compete.
It's not as. It's
He
not.
did
as,
compete. He took
it's
the
not as
eventual
impressive.
champions to 7 games. He absolutely competed. He was great in that series. And yeah, we're not going to see dominance in the way that we've seen it in the past because the league is too good. The league is too good. We are not going to see someone win 6 rings, like back to back, or like
Yeah, because
three-peat, then
the
three-peat.
players are not as fantastic. They're not.
No,
as,
it's not.
No,
that.
it's 'cause
that
the
there's too
teams
many-
are built.
There's too many fantastic players to go around. There's more of them. There's a player's not going to dominate because there's so many great, incredible players, and that's good for the league. Like, if we're not going to see a guy go to 10 straight finals, that's not going to happen again because the league is too good.
If Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and prime LeBron James are in the league today, are Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and current day Giannis, are they better than them?
They're up there. They're
still-
right in the same conversations.
It would be Tim Duncan, LeBron, and then it would be Jokic and Shea. They would be right up there.
Over Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, Shaq too. I forgot you said Shaq, but Shea and Jokic should be top 5 players at that point.
And can we talk about, but what I'm trying to tell you what the difference is now let's take players 5 through 10 and compare them to 5 through 10 today. They're not the same.
No, I know. The scoring
difference.
has changed.
It's not the scoring, it's how good the NBA is and how it's so good because there's so many incredible players, there's so many good teams. That's why we're not seeing repeats.
It's not-
And then the second apron doesn't allow for super teams like there used to be. You can't keep guys around like you used to be able to. And so we're not going to see a run of dominance out of a player like we used to, and we have
You're
to get
not
used to
gonna
that.
see a guy
Wemby's not going to
dominate.
go out and win 7 finals. Like it's
no, but
very unlikely.
he might win like 3 or 4.
He might win 3.
Sure.
And he might win more MVPs
Jokic can win 2
and
more
more
rings.
DPOYs. Like the fact is that Wemby has already showcased like I'm a real one.
So is Jokic.
The difference.
Wait, but Wemby's done nothing
no.
in the playoffs yet. But you're saying we have to judge legacies off the playoffs.
He's the only playoff team he's ever beat is the
But
Blazers.
so far, we already can see what he's projected to be.
projected.
we
but
can
we
see-
haven't seen what he is yet.
Yeah, he hasn't proven anything yet.
If
it's postseason.
his 3rd season in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
and
Okay, so
everybody,
we can't judge him yet if he doesn't have any playoff legacy. Because what you're saying is playoff legacy is the most important part of your legacy, correct? You're saying where you make who you are as a player is in the playoffs, correct?
Yes.
And Wemby hasn't had that opportunity yet. So all we can do is project. Jokic has had that opportunity, and he's done nothing but amaze in the playoffs.
Until-
But
this year.
already Wemby looks like he's already
But how
showcased
about-
he's
how
gonna
about-
be
yes,
better.
yes, but how about if Wemby plays great for 3 years, the next 3 years, he wins a ring in the next 3 years, and then his 4th year, he fizzles out in the first round because he doesn't play well.
We're still gonna look at him as better than Nikola Jokic.
I'm just
Jokic
talking,
had a
I'm
better
just talking
first
about,
playoff
does
series
that
than
make him
Wemby
a
had.
fraud? No, it doesn't make him a fraud. Like you can't take all of the credit of the things he's done in the past away because he's playing a bad series. He played well against the Thunder last year, and he took them to 7 games. The eventual champions. That is something to hang your hat on, taking the eventual champions to 7 games. And then we can't just undermine all that because he's having a bad series. He's having a terrible series. And yes, that should affect how we see him. That should affect his legacy. I think it has. I think in the past we've seen Jokic is the best player in the game. It's not debatable. There's plenty of debate now. Is Shea the best player in the game? Is Luka, is Wemby going to be the next player, the best player in the game? We see it. We see it catching up to Jokic.
We see
yes.
it today. We see,
But it doesn't
we see
tarnish
we
everything
see
he's done in the past.
We
You
see
can't call him a fraud
we
because
see
of
a junior in the league already showcasing that he's more he's just more passionate, he's more ready for the game today, he's ready for the moment. He takes pride in everything that he does offensively and defensively. He does all the right things that greats are gonna be
And this is why
this is one series
and this
that we're
and
judging
Tony,
off of.
this is why he's more likable than Nikola Jokic. Yes, it doesn't make him greater yet. That's not a fair comparison. Like it is. You can't take away everything Jokic has done because of this series, because he's done so much in the past, and he has performed. His whole career has been known as this great playoff performer because he's earned that reputation because he has been, and now that comes into question a little more because he's struggled this series. But if he's still done it more in the past than he has now, then then he still gets the benefit of the doubt until he fumbles again and again and again.
Before 2023, he never beat a 50-win team in the playoffs.
Oh my God. What is it with these 50-win
2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, the year that he won. And when we see the players that are getting better, when we are seeing defenders getting better, when you know that you are that much better than everybody in the league offensively, you need to be able to perform.
Wait, the Clippers have 50 wins. They came back on them 3-1. Was that not a series that was driven by him when they were backed up against the wall, a team that was favored to beat them, and then he is the driving force for a 3-1 comeback? Is that not impressive?
We want to pull up the numbers that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard had in Game 7.
No, but
you can't say that
he
because
won,
they're up
Jokic
3-1.
won.
Was he the reason that they won in Game 7?
Yeah,
He
he's
was the reason they came back.
We can't take one game.
Who is to say that he wasn't one of the reasons that Kawhi and Paul George were missing shots? We're
And-
not watching the footage right now. Yeah, they were
We're
bad.
also talking about Doc Rivers being the head coach of the.
Yes, we are. But Jokic won. I mean, like, we can't just take away. We can't put asterisks next to every single one of his wins, and then take one of his losses, his series losses, and be like, he's terrible. Like, okay, then if we're gonna put asterisks next to everything, let's put asterisks next to the losses. Let's put Aaron Gordon injured against OKC, and they would have won that series if Aaron Gordon was healthy. Oh, let's put asterisks next to the
Right,
rest of
because
the team that's been terrible this
Nikola
series.
Jokic uses Aaron Gordon as a crutch. Yes.
Every player ever uses his team as a crutch because that's what a team
There's
sport
no
is.
such thing as a one-man team.
A team is using each other as crutches because that's how you build a team. You take the strengths of somebody else and you counteract it because someone's going to have weaknesses. You take the strengths to counterbalance that. That's how you build a good team. That's why the Rockets suck because they're a terribly constructed team. They don't counterbalance weaknesses.
You
That's
can't.
how teams are built.
You're not
crutch
going.
other players. That's how a good team is built.
There's nothing that you have to educate me about how good roster construction is made. I know that team basketball is how.
Then you
years
can't
are
fault
won.
a player for having a teammate as a crutch because that's what a
won.
teammate is for.
But when you
The greats can only do it with great teammates.
Yes.
When you are that great and everybody says you are that guy and you can't beat good defenses, I'm sorry.
But he
you're
has.
not as
He-
you're not
this
he
isn't-
hasn't.
Yes,
he
he
hasn't.
has.
He hasn't.
The Heat were a great defense.
They were not.
They were.
They were not.
They were a great
The Lakers
defense.
were a
They
good
were
defense.
not. No.
The
They were
Clippers were a good defense.
not. They were not.
The Jazz had Rudy Gobert coming off his second defensive player of the year in 2020. That was a good defense.
Still was not good enough.
So
was not good enough.
has
Because
anyone
Jokic
ever
was that
played
good.
it? Has anyone ever played a good defense?
Yes, multiple teams against Jokic, and when he does face them, he doesn't win. When you talk about a guy that needs, there's no such thing as a one-man team, but the anchor is the one-man defense.
An anchor is not a one-man defense.
We
That's
can't.
not
We
what an
can't.
anchor is.
We can't talk about that if we really wanted to, but no, we are so over time. The point is that Nikola Jokic is on national television and failing to show me why he is this deserving of this amount of praise, because we would not be giving the same critique. We would not be giving the same treatment to all the other greats.
Yes, we
He's
would.
getting-
We would not.
he's
He's getting the
getting
same
blamed. We would
treatment.
not.
He's
He is
absolutely getting blamed,
blamed.
just
We're
like
not
every
trying to
other
take
great
away
has
from the
been.
blame. But
No,
one,
I have seen-
no one would call LeBron trash and a fraud if he had a bad series midway into his career, because that's not how things work. No one would say LeBron can't beat good defenses.
And the people who do are doing that. Like, sports media is trying to get clicks, right? The sports pundits, they're trying to get clicks. And so when they do say stuff like that, that's what it's for. And people say that about Jokic for clicks, but nobody truly believes that these star players are a fraud, or they shouldn't see them as a fraud for one bad series. And
it's not just one bad series. As many times as I got to tell you, it's when he faces comparable defense.
he was
can't
great
win.
against the Thunder.
this is his worst
He can't
series,
win.
and statistically, it's not even that terrible.
It's not that terrible.
No, he's still averaging 25
shooting
points per
1
game.
for 10 in a second half is not terrible.
That was terrible, but there's more than that.
Overall.
There's more than 1 second half in a series.
Yes.
And like, yes, he has been bad this series. No one is going to tell you he's been great this series. No one's going to tell you he's not one of the primary reasons they're losing this series. Because he is.
the primary reason.
He's one of them.
He's the main reason.
I would agree. He's the main reason. Yes.
This is a team that you should be abusing.
This is the second
I would not
worst.
agree with that.
I would agree with that.
This is his second worst playoff run of his career. He's averaged,
Anthony
averaged
Edwards
30,
was not-
31, 30, 29, 27, and then
Give me the
right now
shots.
26.
Give me the shots.
You want his
Give
field
me the
goals?
shots and show me the field goals in the fourth quarters.
Well, I'll give you the field goals. 50%, 52, 51, 58, 55, 55,
Wait, what are you
49
looking at?
field goal percent. This is
From his career.
This is his
oh,
playoff
career.
career.
Showing me the
Playoff career.
series.
This is
No.
his playoff career.
Show me this series.
He's been
We're-
bad this
we're
series. We
saying-
agree.
Show me the
But
last
you
series.
said,
Agree.
you said he's had bad series before, and I'm telling you right now, he has not had a series. This is his first series below 49% shooting from the field. This is his first series below 49% shooting from the field.
So you're telling me that the defenders that he was facing off against last year was not put in effect? You're telling me that they didn't...
I'm telling you that before he shot 49% from the field. I'm telling you, yes, this is his worst series, but you're saying before he has had terrible series, and that's just not true. That's not true.
The Thunder... Give me the scores for that Thunder series against the Nuggets.
It's like, yes, defenses are gonna play better. Like, you're gonna play worse against good defenses. But then when you go against a team that's a great offense and a bad defense, which is what he's gone against a few times, he outscores them because he is the reason they're the great offense.
Game 1, the Nuggets won by 2. Game 2, they lost by 33. Game 3, the Nuggets won by 9. Game 4, the Thunder won by 5. Game 5, the Thunder won by 7. Game 6, the Nuggets won by 12. And Game 7, the Thunder won by 32. So
Yeah, they had a terrible game 7.
They
That
had
doesn't.
they had 2 blowouts, and they had 4 very close games.
My mom's in the chat. It's all about likability in sports and life, and you can be the best player, but if you're unlikable, we can't see it. And you can be the most likable and mediocre, and people will take notice.
Okay, well, likability doesn't translate to how they play on the court, so that's not true.
Well, but it's definitely how we judge them.
It
definitely how we do
plays a role.
It
in
play-
but-
it plays a
but
role, but
was
that's
Michael
unfair.
Jordan.
And
Michael Jordan was not likable.
But what are you talking about? People literally wanted to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but then also
He was
wanted
a
to be-
degenerate
people
gambler.
hated him.
They made a movie, Be Like Mike.
Yeah,
You're
He
like,
was,
how
he
is
was a
that- how is that-
degenerate gambler still.
Okay, still.
Some people
when you
still
looked
hated
at-
him.
When you looked at the world, the landscape, I don't know about you, but I don't think the NBA is making the guy that basically sends them up into the rankings of like one of the most watched sports in the world. I don't think they're making it an unlikable guy. Like I don't.
He's
see that.
charismatic, but not necessarily.
Shea is not necessarily likable, but he's won an MVP and he's still considered the
People
best. He's
hate Shea.
considered to be the best player in the league, and he's climbing up in the point guard all-time rankings.
Okay, that's great about Shea.
But I'm saying that I'm talking about the likability. He's not likable. People hate him,
People
but we
hate
can't
Shea.
deny what he does on the court.
People hate his team. People don't hate Shea.
People
Oh,
hate Shea. They
that's
hate the way he
ridiculous. They
plays.
hate Shea.
They hate the way he
People
plays on the
hate
court.
Shea.
People hated the way that James Harden played.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
they didn't.
and that's why people judged him.
But people hate James Harden.
But they didn't hate James
has a
Harden.
million
they,
haters.
James Harden has haters because he can't do jack in the playoffs. But they hated the Rockets. They didn't hate James Harden.
That's not true.
No,
that
so
is
many
true.
people hated James Harden.
That is true.
And I agree.
James
like
Harden was one of the most like favorite players. Like he was selling like top 3 in jerseys all those years when he was on the Rockets.
I
like,
agree. Likability. I agree that likability matters in a player's reputation, but
It shouldn't matter to what they do on the court.
What our argument was about was, is he a fraud as a player? And that is where I don't see likability factoring
So
into that
far,
argument.
that doesn't-
But for his
that doesn't
reputation,
factors-
but it does translate to his reputation as a guy and as a player. Like it's his media reputation is affected by his likability. Like he was very likable for a long time, and then as it's gone on, he's gotten more and more unlikable, and I can recognize that, and I understand that that's why his media perception is changing.
yeah.
But that doesn't make him a fraud on the court. Like that's
no, because Shea's
that's where
been
I'm
proving.
saying.
Shea's been proving that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like he's showing out. He's showing out against everybody. He hasn't missed.
Jokic still shows out.
Even when people criticize Shea for the team that he's surrounded in, when it comes down in clutch time moments, he hasn't missed a shot in the fourth quarter since March. That is the difference.
I want to see that stat.
No,
Look it up.
It is true.
Look it up.
He's been very clutch.
true.
Yes, he's been super clutch. I agree. But
Jokic is just overrated, and it's fine to say that. It's okay.
I think that he is. I still believe
he's properly
I think
rated.
he's the best player in the world in my opinion. But
He's not playing like it.
he's not in this series. I agree. And that's something that factors in because before I had him well above everyone else, and now I have him just above Shea and just above Wemby and just above Luka. Right? That does factor in. It's brought him down, but I'm not going to take away everything I've seen from him in the past, and that's all I'm going to say. And if he does it again, if next season he doesn't look great or next postseason he doesn't look great, then yes, he'll get passed. He will. Or if Shea goes on in the rest of this postseason and has a nuclear postseason, okay, I'll give it to Shea.
That's what I'm saying. We're seeing it right now unfold before our eyes.
It takes more than a first round, and if
takes
Jokic
more
loses,
than
like
one series.
Shea hasn't played a close game yet. So we can't talk about Shea. It's like, yeah, Shea's
Shea played a close game against. What do you mean? What do you mean he hasn't
in the
played a good
postseason.
In the post, yeah.
This year.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
yeah.
I'm talking about this year now because
We're talking about playoffs and how
so,
that adds to the
yes,
legacy.
he was great in the fourth quarters in the regular season, and that's awesome. That's lights are bright, but he needs to do it in this postseason, and he hasn't had the opportunity yet. And that's not something that goes against him. I'm not holding that against him by any means, but I have yet to see him go on this nuclear playoff run to that Jokic has gone on. And Shea it doesn't have to be against the best defenses. It has to be against the teams that win, the teams that he plays against. And if he does that, he does that.
Shea did it against the same defense last year. He did it against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah,
Like-
but that was a different team than we've seen. We've seen Jokic do it against these exact same Timberwolves. Like Jokic has played great against the Timberwolves in the past, has he not?
Not this year.
No,
and
not this year.
Okay, Jokic
But
has,
but that's what I'm
Jokic has
saying.
done more so far in his career than Shea to uphold a legacy. Jokic has been better for longer.
We're already saying that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the greatest Thunder of all time. We're saying that he could be one of the greatest shooting. He's already like in one of the greatest shooting guards / point
Jokic is
guards
already in one of the best centers of all time.
And he's the best nugget of all time.
We're saying that he's one of the greatest scorers of all time.
And
already.
Jokic is one of the best passers of all
So
time.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Shea is doing it at a level that could last for past the 5-year stretch.
Jokic
could,
has
and
been
Jokic
doing it for
can
more
too.
than 5 years.
Jokic can too. So that's what I'm saying. Like Jokic has been doing it.
Jokic
Shea
has
is
been doing it
currently
since
doing it. So
2019.
Shea, yes, we might see Shea pass him. And maybe in some people's eyes he already has, and that's fine. You can hold that opinion. But for Jokic to be a fraud just because of this one playoff series is a complete and utter overreaction.
It's
That's
not.
all I'm saying.
How is it not an
What is he a fraud
not.
as? Is he a fraud as the best player in the world? Is that what you're saying he is as a fraud?
Or is he a fraud as a
He's-
player?
Like
Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is a fraud for being the player that we thought he was.
So you're saying he's not who we think he is?
He's not.
That's ridiculous.
He's not the
one,
player. He's
one
not the player
series
that
doesn't take
he's
away
not
from
the player that we thought he was.
One series
He's not
cannot
the
take away from
unstoppable
7
player.
years of consistency.
He's not closest to being the greatest center of all time. He's not any of those things. He's not. And it's okay to say that. He's had a great 5-year stretch. But when we talk about greatness, we talk about guys that have done it for 10 years. We talk about it.
He's close to that.
We got
He's done it for 7 years at least.
7 years.
2019. He's done it since then. He hasn't missed the playoffs since 2019.
The 2019 Nuggets went to like 7 overtimes against the DeMar DeRozan Spurs.
And
Like,
won.
are we
and won and then lost to the Blazers. I don't
lost
care.
against the Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum Blazers.
Everyone loses the playoff series. I don't
like
get your point.
they got swept later in the Western Conference Finals,
And he was still an MVP candidate.
The
and made the Western Conference Finals. Like you're
Nikola Jokic
but I understand,
hasn't done
but
that,
you're
though,
only pointing
for 7
you're-
years.
you're only
We've
pointing
been
to every
considering him as
short-
the best player in the world for the last 3.
You're pointing
for the
to-
last 3 to 4, maybe 5.
You're pointing to every shortcoming of all these guys that we're talking about. The only guy I've ever heard you say something like super positive about is KD. Like
No, I've sung my praises about Anthony Edwards. I've sung my praises about Shea.
But what has Anthony Edwards
I've sung my praises
not
about
done?
LeBron James.
What has Anthony Edwards done to have more of a legacy than Jokic?
I'm not saying that Anthony Edwards has more of a legacy than Jokic right now, but I'm saying that right now, as we speak, Nikola Jokic's legacy it's not reflective of who he is today. It's not reflective of how we've been judging him.
He's a
it's
3 times MVP.
It's not
that has been an MVP candidate for what, 6 straight seasons?
And again, we talk about the best players, like the best top 3 players in the NBA. The players that he won MVP against was what? Joel Embiid.
Come on, man.
Giannis.
Now you're going to discredit who he was going
getting
against
Mickey
MVP.
He's like, we can't.
You can't discredit everything about what teams he played, what players he wants to get for the MVP.
We can't discredit
You can't go
everything.
against the best teams of all time every year.
We can't
Yes,
discredit
we can
every
yes, we
player's
can.
every
Because
what?
if we're gonna judge,
What?
if we're gonna put and accelerate this guy into top 15, top 20 player of all time, then we got to judge it by what era he did it in.
Were you
and
saying the
what
MVP
was his
candidates
comp.
were that year
and-
were not the best players in the league that year?
I'm not saying that they weren't. I'm saying that if we look at the versions of those top 3 best players,
He wanted
and we
it-
see the versions of top best 3 players in the league in years past, it's a no diff.
He won an MVP over 2021 Steph Curry, who went nuclear.
We're not going to talk about 2021 Steph Curry.
Why?
In the
Why?
same-
I'm using it as a point.
in the same, we're going to use 2021 Stephen Curry as the same conversations as 2003 Shaq. We're going to use it in the same
What?
in the same conversations as Kobe. We're going to use the same conversations as
But Steph is an all-time great, and he won an MVP over him in
like-
one of Steph Curry's best seasons.
You're
because
talking
Jokic was that good.
You're talking about like
and he had an
his-
8th seed.
his legacy compared to these other players, right? I'm looking at like the Bleacher Report list of like other top 20 players, right? Guys like KG. We could point to so many issues within KG's career. Dirk, we can point to so many shortcomings. He lost, like, yes, he is one of the greatest finals runs of all time, but he also has one of the worst like first round performances as a team, right? His team losing to an 8 seed. That's really embarrassing. David Robinson, Julius Erving. Like we could go through all these careers. Jerry West from, whoever knows how far long ago. Oscar Robertson with only 1 championship in a time where the best players were dominating and winning a million championships.
Are you going to just cherry pick like the eras of basketball where like there was? You're cherry picking
Hakeem
Oscar
Olajuwon,
Robertson,
2-time champion. Kobe Bryant, there we go. Like, that's where we're getting into the conversations where it's like he doesn't quite compare yet. Then we have Steph.
Magic Johnson,
And then we have
Larry
Will.
Bird, Michael Jordan.
That's where we're getting into the top 5, top 7 conversation. So, and I don't think people are like putting him in top 5
We're
ever
putting him
conversations.
we're putting him in top 5 ever center conversation.
Yes, we are, because he
that
is.
conversation should be not as nearly close if that's the case. If that's the case of like, oh, we're judging it based off of like the top 7 players of all time. How many? There's a lot. There's probably 4 bigs, maybe 5 bigs that are in that the top 10 of all time currently. Then that has to be pretty close for Nikola Jokic to get in with that range of being a top 5 center. Then he's already saying that he's better than those peers.
He's up there. Yes, he's in the
He's
same
up
conversation as Kareem, Bill Russell, Wilt, Shaq, and Hakeem. He is.
He has 3 MVPs.
Okay.
Do you discredit that?
Larry Bird has 3 MVPs.
Yeah, because
Larry
he's
Bird
one
had
of the
3
best players
MVPs
ever.
he's one of the best players ever, and in a time when it was literally like the best players were him and Magic and Kareem. There was not
He also
that much
has John
competition.
Havlicek. One of the best.
Come on,
What, bro?
Come on, bro.
Bro.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Like John Havlicek is a great player, but he doesn't compare to the depth of stars that we have today, right? The depth of stars has changed, and that's why there's no dominance. And it's why I'm not going to get behind. I can't get behind the legacy talk anymore, because these players can be great and build legacies and build great legacies. But why are we comparing across eras in the first place? Like, why?
We can't do that.
Because-
we have to talk about
because-
him now.
Because we
Yeah, and he's not it, bro. He's not.
He's not been one of the best players in the league for 7 years.
He's not the player that people have been saying he is.
Why?
You guys keep telling me why. Like I can't go back. I can go back in time every single time when I
we are
wanted
explaining
to
why
get
he
to
is.
one of my
No,
beats.
we are explaining
the-
why he is, and you're
No, I
explaining
know,
why he's not,
I know,
and it's fine.
I know.
We're not going to agree.
We're not going to agree, but stop making me go back to my
No, I-
conversation.
I do understand. I know why
know you
you're.
didn't.
I know
But it's
why
like
you're saying
the
it, but
flow-
it's just not true.
The flow of conversation. Congratulations, you said it's not true, so that means it must be not true. So
And you said it's true, so it must be true. Like we're not going to
No,
agree.
that's
and
not what
that's
I'm
fine.
saying.
It's an
I
argument.
said
I'm allowed to
We've
say
given-
it's not true.
Okay, hold on. Let's get civil here for a second.
Oh, I'm civil, man.
Yes,
I don't want to have to
okay.
backtrack.
Let's
for an
for
hour.
a second. you just keep interrupting me though, and that's like let's be civil. I'll say my piece.
I'm civil, man.
You say your piece.
I'm
Ready?
being ready.
We're not going to agree. I just think he has been. I'm not going to argue with the fact that he has been the most impressive player over the last 5 years in the league, in my opinion. Watching him do what he's done, and yes, he's having a bad series, and for me, that doesn't move the needle on who he is as a player. He's been incredible as a player throughout the years, and you're going to disagree, and that's okay. Like. It's okay. This is a pointless argument about like
it's not
comparing against.
This is what
comparing against eras.
The diaspora of sports debate relies on this type of conversation. Because if we were all just going to just agree with
I agree.
The status quo, then there wouldn't be point in making lists.
No, I agree.
There wouldn't be point in making anything.
We can do more than surface level talks about.
But it's not surface level.
I'm
not telling you that.
Comparing across eras, like it's so pointless because no one ever changes their minds. No one's ever going to change their opinions. This is just my piece on why the NBA media at this point in time sucks.
It's not about.
And I really think it sucks.
I think the media sucks, but I'm not a member of the media. I'm a member of Annenberg Media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a member of the NBA fan just experiencing the games that I'm watching. But as a fan, I can also judge what I'm seeing.
So can I guess?
Yeah, everybody can. And I don't think that we should place restrictions on this is an era of basketball that we can't really compare to, or just these players, we can't compare them because they're not that great. It's like, who are we fooling? We talk about the greatest players of all time all the time, and we talk about the nature of sports is to see the next coming of whoever. We see the next coming of Jordan, it's LeBron. We see the next coming of LeBron, might be Wemby. Like, we see whatever might be afterwards. That's why we have these conversations. And players that are constantly on this pedestal and they're impervious to judgment doesn't make any sense. So
I don't think anyone sees him as impervious to judgment. That's where I disagree.
Because we are blaming him right now for this Nuggets series, but all we are saying is you cannot overreact to one series because he has had so many more series where he has been amazing and he has a great finals run and he has great regular season. So you cannot take the smallest sample size of 3 games and use that to judge a whole player, because we could do that with any player. We could say Steph's 2016 finals, it was awful. It's one of the worst finals a superstar has ever had. LeBron absolutely choked in 2012, but guess what?
Okay.
That happens to players. You cannot take one series and judge it and take that as the whole of their career.
We can. Because
why?
Because why is it only when they lose? When we talk about their wins, it's mostly based off of one series. A majority of the conversation of why LeBron James is the greatest player of all time was because mainly of the one series.
No, that's not true. The reason is because he went to 10 straight finals. He won 30 series in 10 years.
It wasn't a matter of fact. It wasn't, I mean, it's still not a matter of fact.
No.
But after that 2016 series, that was the moment that people seriously considered him to be the GOAT.
It was an iconic moment.
It made it happen, but they also considered his rings before.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Why can't we take every aspect? Why can it only be their wins, not their losses?
It's always been both. That's where I don't understand. Like, it's always been both. LeBron gets so much flack for 2012. And Jokic has gotten plenty of flack over the last year about the Thunder series. And Jokic gets plenty of flack right now about losing. Like,
he's only gotten flack from me. I haven't really heard of that.
I've gotten so much flack on Jokic. And I agree he's been an issue. And I was ready to come on here and talk about how Jokic needs to be better. And I've never seen Jokic look this bad. And like, he gets plenty of flack. And you should be judged by, yes, your wins and your losses. But over the years, and year in and year out and year in and year out, like, the wins, we see the great players, inherently, they just win more than they lose. And that doesn't necessarily have to be they win a championship every year. LeBron lost more finals than he won. But he also made it to 10 straight finals. That's 30 series in 10 years that he won. And like,
But he also has 4 championships.
he does. But in my opinion, even if he came out of there with 2 rings, he's still, a top 2 player of all time. Because
I think if he came out with 2 rings, you'd already have people saying Nikola Jokic is a better player than LeBron James.
No, you wouldn't.
No,
because
what?
he went to 10 straight finals.
No,
Like,
there would be.
You think if Jokic has
whole
another
mass-
ring, the people will be saying he's better than
The whole
LeBron?
mass-
Right now.
But
I'm
no,
talking
but
about
I'm
if
saying,
LeBron only won with Miami, for example, and he just had the same career that he does now, Jokic would be in that conversation. If
No.
Jokic won another ring, people would be saying
LeBron
or Prime
had a
Jokic.
bunch of series in a row. And yes,
People
it
are
would be-
already saying Prime Jokic over a lot of their favorite players.
Even you can
And-
take a player's series even if they don't win a championship. You could take a playoff run and consider it a win and something to add to their legacy. Because if they don't underperform in a terrible way, like Jokic is this might be his first series where he has massively underperformed and his team loses because of it. That is something that can affect your legacy. But it is not a pattern with Jokic like you were kind of insinuating. It's not a pattern of where Jokic underperforms in the playoffs and they lose. It's like
but
a
that
James
wasn't,
Harden.
That wasn't the conversation.
That's not.
The conversation was
Well,
about
that's what you were saying.
his competition
You were saying-
is. His competition didn't match the level of absurdity that he's been going at, where we say, oh yeah, he's this offensive great. He's this playoff riser, whatever kind of connotation you want to put with it. The point was that Jokic can do all these things when it's not against great defenders. And when he's showing out against the team that has a comparable defense, he's not doing it well.
That's just not true.
I just think
it's
we've
literally
watched
been
him
the
do
case
it
for-
against
it's
some of
been
the
the case
best
for
big
his
defenders
career.
for years. Like we've watched him do it. And that's where I disagree. Like Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo are great defenders. And that's just not something that I think should be up for debate. Those two are great big defenders and he torched both of them.
But I've been explaining this for an hour.
And so have I. So
but
we're both going to be frustrated.
Like
The series that the Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves in 7 2 years ago, Jokic averaged 30, 12, and 9 in that series. And yes, they lost, but that's not him underperforming against what was one of the better defenses in the league that
he
year.
has to score if he's their main option.
He did. That's why he averaged 30.
I mean, of course, it's a reason why they went to 7 games. But
Yeah,
at
He
the
had
end- but-
35 in Game 7.
he was great.
But when you're doing that great, like why can't you win?
Because
Why can't you win?
Are you saying 35 wasn't enough for them to win? Because he was
Well,
the
I mean,
drive-
it wasn't enough.
It
for him.
wasn't
I mean,
enough.
It wasn't, but from him specifically. You're saying he has to do everything?
I mean, we already say that he does everything.
It's a team sport. We said this earlier.
We
Every
say it,
great
yes,
needs a
it's
great
a-
teammate to help them out, and he had 35 in that game.
Yeah.
He did not underperform in that
Jamal
game.
Murray
to
and
lose.
Nikola Jokic, when they're arguably one of the best duos of all time. What other help does he need? Like, I don't understand.
Because but how about
And his
when Jamal Murray's playing terrible, which is what has been a common thread in series that they lose. Jamal Murray being terrible, like
Jamal Murray being inconsistent.
But in the
yes.
series where they lose is him
And I didn't-
is him on the bad side of his inconsistency. So
But it can't just be all on Jamal Murray.
The whole thing is a team
when your
sport.
guy is failing to rise or just meet that
But he's
expectation.
not
And I'm not saying the
Nikola
whole thing.
Jokic does he not have the capability to put Jamal Murray on his back? Does
he
he not have
does.
that?
He does. And he's done it before.
But he didn't.
But are you saying that no one has ever blamed him for losing to the Thunder or losing to the Wolves 2 years ago? Because I did. I blamed him. Still think he's the best player in the world, but I blamed him.
We still call him like you said, top 5 center of all time, top 3 player.
Yeah.
Currently
Because
in the
those
league.
guys lost too.
But when we
that's
talk,
that's all I'm telling you.
Everyone,
Those guys lost
everyone
too.
loses.
And-
when we talk about
when they lost,
everyone loses.
a lot of it
and
was on them too.
And when Jokic loses, we just throw it underneath
That's
the
I
not
disagree.
true.
We tuck it behind the couch cushions and we say, "Don't worry about that. He's still great. He's got it." Like whatever.
He can still
Like,
be considered great even when he loses. That is why players are all-time greats. LeBron could play another 4 years in the league and get swept in all the
but
series,
he's
and
not-
it doesn't matter.
But he's not as great as what are people saying. Can we agree
No,
about that?
We can't because he's
He's
at
not-
the end of the day when he loses this, if he loses this series, he will still be a 3-time MVP, a finals MVP, and still one of the most consistent players. He's still an MVP candidate this year, like he's been for the past 6 years. And yes, if he loses a series, it sucks, and we will have to blame him for it. But it doesn't take away from what he has done these past 6 years.
Right now,
he's done enough.
Right now,
to
I would
hold a
say
legacy.
Again,
I would say the consensus is that he is one of 2 best players in the league.
It is between him and Shea.
And it's between him and Shea. And people are arguing about it right now, which is exactly where I feel he should be.
I thought you guys were arguing it was Luka Doncic.
No,
He should be the MVP this season.
I said
MVP doesn't always mean best player in the world.
At that point in time, yeah. LeBron was the best
That's
player.
a contradiction.
No, it's not.
LeBron was
No,
the
it's
best
not.
player in the league for 10 years straight. He didn't win 10 straight MVPs. So
Joel Embiid wasn't the best player in the world 3 years ago when he won an MVP, but he had the best season.
Do you think that Nikola Jokic was the best player in the world when he was going against in 2020? Was it 2021?
he was the best player in the world, not because he won the MVP, but
But
because,
do you think that
because
Steph
he was the best player in the world.
that year?
I think Jokic was.
I think Steph was the best player in the world back then, but then 3 years later, after Jokic has 3 MVP seasons and after winning a finals, he's the best player in the world. And he's been since then.
And I thought he was the best player in the world at that point in time.
But you can see how there's still inconsistency about whether he won the award
So the
or
best
not.
player in the world
Yes.
changes every year
The
based on who wins MVP.
I would say the best player in the world that we've seen in the last couple seasons changes after who wins the finals.
Which is
That's-
wrong.
that's-
That's
that's
not
So
how it
Tatum
should
was
be.
the best player in the world 2 years ago? Or Jaylen Brown was the best player in the world 2 years ago?
No. I'm not saying who wins the finals MVP, but who's the best player on the team.
Yeah, but
We had-
Tatum was the best player on the team. So was he the best player in the world 2 years ago?
You could argue that.
No,
You can
no-
make that
no one-
conversation.
No one would argue that.
Kawhi Leonard.
There was talks about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he had a very good few years in a row. He had a
He had
DPOY.
he had one good year, and we still
No.
said
No,
we still
he didn't
said
have
He was
one good
great
year.
he still
before that.
Yeah, he was
Kawhi's
he was
run-
in and out of lineups the years before
Because he was
that.
hurt, yes.
He
But
was
every
hurt
time he was on,
and he
but
came
every
back
time we watched
stronger than ever.
Every time we watched him play on the floor, he was great.
And
He
guess
has
what?
one
He
good
was taken
postseason
out of the
where he
conversation the next year because the Clippers completely
Yeah, and that's what I'm
underperformed.
saying. The making it on top of playoff mountain does give you enough credit to say I'm the best player.
It gives you help. Yes, it helps you. But there's a reason we didn't see that many people, like barely anybody, claiming Jason Tatum to be the best player in the world. Because at the end of the day,
No, but what did we do? We said he was not a star anymore. We said he was a superstar. We said he was
Yeah, and
elevated. He
because
was
that
elevated.
gives-
No one,
yes, winning-
I never
winning
heard
a
anyone
finals-
claim he's the best player in the world. after.
winning a finals gives you credibility. I agree.
But we also
But-
don't see Jason Tatum in the way that probably Celtics fans do. We think Jason Tatum's corny.
I don't
Like,
think Celtics
but-
fans ever thought he was the best player in the world.
Okay,
They
can we-
definitely
can I say my piece right here?
Go ahead, bro.
So, the reason Jason Tatum didn't get very many calls for being the best player in the world after he won the ring is because at the end of the day, it's what most people see on the court. Is what it comes down to. And right now, people are debating whether what they see from Shea or what they see from Jokic on the court is better, right? And with Kawhi, it was when he was off the court. Yes, he was off the court a lot, but every time he was on the court in that 3-year span, he was amazing. And then the finals run really helped him boost his stock because he was amazing in that.
Yeah.
So postseason is weighted more heavily. I wouldn't say the regular season doesn't matter. I would say it matters. Every postseason game matters more than every regular season game, but both matter. And
Both matter.
It's what we
but-
see on the
but
floor, and that's all we can go off of.
We
And
always
when-
judge postseason and finals
Agreed.
performance.
I agree.
over
They,
everything.
they are more valuable, but it doesn't take away it doesn't take away stuff from the regular season. It just outweighs it. It just has a greater weight. But what we see on the floor, what I see on the floor when I watch Jokic play, and it hasn't been this series. This series he's been bad. But for the last 5 years and throughout this season when I watch him, I think that's the most impactful player in the world. And when I watch Shea, I think that's one of the most impactful players in the world. That's who I believe is second. And so at the end of the day, it's what we see on the court. And it's not gonna, like, one series doesn't change my mind. A pattern changes my mind. If he comes out next year and he sucks in the regular season or he sucks next postseason, then that changes my mind. If Shea goes on an absolute
he's
torch-
sucking more like than he has in a while.
Yes.
But last year,
But this
to
season
me,
he was great.
the first
Yeah,
red
this
flag.
season, he has sucked in the last 3 games. He had a great regular season.
Yeah. And I'm saying that last season, what especially was definitely one of those crimson red flags that was starting to go up. that led to today. What's happening? What we're talking about him right
See,
now.
that's where I disagree. I believe
I don't know what he did last
I
season.
believe last year he was great.
Yeah.
Even up until like through
The
this Thunder
stinker.
series, he was great. And this has been the first series where I've watched him and I think, wow, he does not look great. And for me, that's not enough. I'd have to see another series where he doesn't look great.
I mean, I don't think that a guy that's literally like cracking jokes against a team that's clearly missing their best player, who wasn't even healthy for most of this series, and he's still shooting
That
poorly.
has nothing to do with what he's done. Not like that. That is just completely not part of what we've been talking about in the last hour.
But it does in the degree of like he's not the guy.
Okay,
He's
but the
not-
likability has it has an effect on how we may view him later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And as a face of the league,
it does
but
not.
he's not the face
it
of the
does
league.
not
There's a
affect
reason for that.
how we view him as the best player in the world. It shouldn't, because when we're talking about that and talking about if he's a fraud or not, we're talking about what he does on the basketball court. We're not talking about if I like him or not. That is so irrelevant to that entire conversation.
I think
I don't think so.
I think it does. I think
Because when Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan played against each other in the finals, Charles Barkley didn't have maybe the team that Michael Jordan did. You could honestly argue the first time that they played against each other that Charles Barkley could have been the best player in the world. But Michael Jordan won that series. They won the finals. Michael Jordan thus became the best player in the world. And he became not just a hero to Chicago, but a hero to the country.
he was the face of the league.
Do you think
but
Shea
not?
is
But
liked?
but hold on. But not at all times is the best player in the world also the face of the league.
That's true.
There are plenty,
That's true.
and Jokic is one of those cases. Jokic, in my opinion, is and has been for the last 5 years the best player in the world without being the face of the league. He's no way in the face of the league, and there's a reason the NBA hasn't really tried to make him the face of the league. The NBA hasn't really been trying to make Shea the face of the league. Really, they gave a little bit of thought to Anthony Edwards, and people like Anthony Edwards, even though he's like kind of like he's like a villain-esque character, but he's very liked because he's got all this charisma. But people like
Better than
Wemby.
Clay.
People love Wemby, and so the NBA is pushing Wemby to be the face of the league. But that doesn't. I don't think that he's the best player in the world right now. I think he probably will be at some point.
I don't think he is the face of the league right now. I think it's still probably LeBron.
It's LeBron and it's LeBron and Steph, but like he's in the process of grabbing the torch at the moment. Like the torch is in. I would say that he is also the face. Like I think this year it transitioned from in LeBron and Steph's hands, like they're about to pass it, to now it's in LeBron and Steph's hands and Wemby's hand, like it's reaching out, grabbing it. At the same
for sure.
time, you know.
And let me be clear. The conversation that I wanted to make was purely that Nikola Jokic he's had a good 5-year stretch. But I think that in the way that we talk about him, I think that we talk about him like he's been doing this for 10 plus years. And he hasn't. And I think that to project him so highly just off of a 5-year stretch is pretty crazy. Because if we look at the year, like out of the smaller sample size out of these all other greats, it's like, all right, if you show me a guy that's won more in less time, of course I'm just like off of the percentage of the winning or whatever. If you look at like, for example, if you look at Steph Curry, he's lost the playoffs 40% of his career. But at the same time, every time he goes to the finals or whatever, he has a higher winning rate in the finals because he has more wins than losses in the finals.
I also think in today's game, we have to stop. Obviously, rings are such a high judgment of like what a player can do and what a player can accomplish. But we've seen in the past, since the Warriors dynasty, we've seen that it is hard for a team to win, not just back-to-back rings, but win 2 every 3 or 4 years. It is
Especially
hard.
It's
and so
super
we
hard.
need to
The second
stop
apron's the
considering
big
a
thing.
ring being like the pinnacle of what a player can do, because Jokic has 3 MVPs, and that is one of the highest marks that a player can get to individually and what we should judge him off. And yes, for a player like he's been and where we consider him to be, he probably should have 1 more ring, I would say. But
I think
in today's game, it is hard, and he will get there. He will get another
It's hard, but you might see the Thunder as the first team since 2017.
Absolutely. That's because
win
the
that
Thunder have
back-to-back.
built an absolute monster team. And that is, to me, that is more on the front office. I mean, obviously it's on the players as well.
Oh, yeah, Sam
And Shea-
Presti's
But
got
Sam
a lot of
Presti
credit.
But Sam Presti
should get so much
Sam
credit.
Presti, I think, is the second most valuable person in that organization behind Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
What he's done for this whole team.
When you talked about rings and not them, when you talked about rings and them not necessarily being the thing that we should judge off of completely, I agree with that statement. Because in my opinion,
they matter more today than they did.
I don't think that Bill Russell is in my top 10 of all time.
Yeah, because 11 rings in the 60s.
Rest in peace, brother. But like,
Brother.
I don't really think that's not worth it. It's not the same thing that we compare to now.
I agree.
But we do utilize that more in an era where players are getting better and it's more impressive.
And I think it is more impressive to win a ring now than it was. But it's also with the a big change is the second apron, right? That's
course.
the primary reason
CJ McCollum and Grant Williams.
I think that is the primary reason that we're not seeing dynasties anymore, which I think is great for the league. I think
amazing for the game of
It's
basketball.
made for way more entertaining playoffs. It's we don't know who's gonna be like. It felt like every year we get to the playoffs, it's like, okay, let's just fast forward to when the Cavs play the Warriors. Like, it was like, it was kind of a drag at some point.
I'm not sick of that, but I know you guys are.
But
I low-key liked it.
it was like a fun rivalry, but at the same
was
time,
fun for a time.
it made the rest of the postseason like feel a little empty.
At least for
than it
the
does
Eastern
now.
Conference, for sure.
And so like I really
LeBron
think
was real.
I really think that we need to stop taking rings. I agree as the primary way we judge players. I think it should be now one of the ways. And the only way that I see somebody racking up rings and finals appearances is if Wemby does what he said he was going to do and doesn't ask for a max contract. He doesn't ask for a big bag. Like he said, I'm good with 20 million or whatever he said. He wants to make a super team. Nowadays, super teams take sacrifice from the players. They have to take pay cuts. It's the only way to do it. And
No,
if Wemby's
Jokic
willing,
just wants all that money to give to his horses.
because he doesn't care about his legacy. Like
he's
we're
not
talking
a
about his
basketball
legacy.
player at heart, man.
The three of us right now talking about Jokic's legacy, we care about his legacy more than Jokic does. Like he could not
I probably could
rat's
show him
booty.
this clip and he could be like, okay, I'm going, like
he couldn't give a rat's.
Yeah, you know what? He could get a rat's ass.
You could tell him
It's the
to
last
his
show, we could
face.
say that.
Yeah,
You
okay,
could
okay.
You could tell him to his face that you're an effing fraud.
Yeah.
And he'd be like,
Okay, his brother might beat you up.
His brother might like hide me and you guys might never see me.
I go
There
ride
won't be a
horse
file
now.
of me anywhere. Like,
His brother might erase you from the planet, but Jokic won't care.
that's true.
Now.
But yeah, I
Hey,
think
Maddie.
Wemby
Legendary pod, 2.5 hours. Yes.
Wemby does care.
I'm exhausted.
Wemby does care about his legacy, and I think that means he's going to take a pay cut. That's how it's going to have to happen at this point. So I guess we'll see.
We're gonna have to see. I mean,
Next semester.
I'll give you guys a little, a grain of salt, and I'll throw in like, I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see what he does against the Spurs. But
If he gets there.
if he gets
I still
there.
think it's hard to win two games.
If
in a
Ayo
row.
Dosunmu goes off again,
We-
bro,
we
I might have to get on.
We should have a post. We should have a post playoffs VFTS Zoom call that we upload online.
I don't know if Kobe's still in the chat.
Kobe's
If
blacked
you-
out right now.
If you are Kobe, please say something because I did see you earlier say Ayo Dosunmu
Mark
was saving
Grayson.
basketball, and
I think he could be.
I now see you as a Kenny Beecham fan. I know that thumbnail. I know the title from 2 days ago, the Kenny for Real video.
Shout out Kenny.
And so
Come on the pod, Kenny.
we stand with Kenny Beecham. We hate Frank Isola.
Who?
We hate Frank Isola. We despise Frank Isola. So we stand with Kenny Beecham, and I know you stand
I
with
like
Kenny
that
Beecham,
reference.
Kobe Cruz.
We might have more emotion than Frank Isola.
At
Yeah.
this point in time, we might.
Yeah, I think so too. His nickname is Title Card. Yeah, before we shoot down this show for the rest of the semester real quick, guys. Who did it? Clay or Megan?
Clay. He done it every
Okay,
time.
wait.
Every game he's
Wait.
ever had.
Clay did it, but I am sick and tired of seeing women on the internet saying we did not know Clay before Megan. Prime Clay Thompson was a force of nature, ladies and gentlemen. That is a top 10 3-and-D player of all time. Get off my boy's name, but what he did was wrong.
But at the same time, it is like how they knew Klay Thompson. Like,
It is how they knew it, but
Which is fair.
they shouldn't claim that we as a society didn't know who he was.
No. Obviously, I
All
think
the boys knew Clay Thompson.
One of the funniest things I saw about this was some streamer, some Twitch streamer, she went online. She went on 2K.
She changed his health abilities.
She went
yeah.
straight to his vitals and said, we're going to reduce all of them to 25, which is the lowest that you could put on 2K so that he could just injure every single bone in his body in that simulation. I also say I don't believe Clay when he says one of his teammates is a walking L, like that one of his teammates cheated with Meg. Najee Marshall. We think that guy pulled Megan Thee Stallion. We think Cooper Flag pulled Megan Thee. That bro can't drink.
Coop could.
Yeah,
but
Coop can't even go to a club. Like that's I don't think it's possible unless it's Daniel Gafford. Like
yeah, I think
no.
Clay is
Clay has
doing a little
also
bit of
cheated.
copium here, but
Clay
has
has cheated on like
multiple
all of his girlfriends. Like he needs to figure this out.
as much of a like a
He gotta be better, bro.
Akko Taco guy like that he is. Like Clay has been a ladies' man for a while.
And then he cheats on him.
But we just see like, oh, he's got a cute dog named Rocco. Rest in peace. Like,
Oh yeah, everyone sees him as like the
Yeah.
most wholesome guy in the NBA. He's low key just like not a good dude.
he's not. No, he's not a good dude.
No, if you cheat
but-
multiple times, you are not a good dude, bro. Come on, don't.
Not
All of
a-
our girlfriends are watching right now. Tony, you might want to retract
Cheating
that
is
statement,
inexcusable.
I reject everything that I said, even about Jokic. Actually, just kidding. So Jay in the chat, not a word
Lord.
about Kehlani cheating on Kyrie though. Hey,
Bro, cheating is bad no matter who does it, bro. Let's
it
not
is
make this
bad.
a gender thing.
That's one thing that can't be
Let's
subjective.
not make
on
this a
pod.
gender thing. Like
For
cheating
sure.
is bad, bro.
Cheating is bad.
The one who would put that into question is not here right now.
Oh
so.
yeah, Edward. Yeah, we're glad he's not on
Edward
this
has
one.
a different take that you guys will not want to hear.
No.
Yeah,
Edward's a good dude. He's doing it for a bit.
he is. He's for the ladies.
The cameras were off in that one.
Yeah, but I guess that's how we call a semester. We're gonna end it on a laugh after a lot of tension.
It's been fun.
But I think
Guys,
that's-
I promise we're friends, bro.
I think that's how we should end it on a show like this. 2.5, almost 3 hours.
It's been a ride. This is a fitting end.
Yeah.
Look, yes, the last couple of weeks we've been adding sort of like this almost argument segment to the end
Yeah.
of our shows.
No, for sure.
But
We got to bring this back next semester.
We love each other,
No,
guys.
absolutely.
Like we're here for the vibes. We have a good time when we're here filming.
Yeah, since I've
There's
been
no
on this
hard
show,
feelings.
I know that people are always gonna get super hot about their own takes and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I think that that's the most valuable thing is when I see discourse and when I see honestly even you two getting into it. Like that's the best.
Never.
That's the best part about it. When
You should see us when we don't have a common enemy.
yeah.
Then we butt heads.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think diverse conversations are always at the best when everybody has different opinions and it's not just a yes man group or just like because that would be boring. That would be boring to watch. We will see you guys next fall.
Yeah, next fall. I mean, I guess our first show we'll just talk about what happened in the playoffs.
We'll talk about
and-
what happened. I'll probably talk about how the Pistons, ruined my bracket, or we'll talk about how the Cavs didn't make it to the finals.
Know how the Cavs are
actually
are
there
your
was
newest NBA champions.
You know what?
You will see.
there was a glitch on one of the broadcasts.
That's why. This is why the Raptors got all the calls.
Yeah.
This is why.
because there was a glitch that in the Raptors game for whatever reason the Raptors logo was replaced with the Oklahoma City Thunder logo on ESPN's
Mm-hmm.
bug for whatever reason for for whatever reason, the Thunder were involved.
Because they were getting all the calls. So,
bro.
Yeah.
so we know that the Thunder were representing for the Raptors
but
that
we
day.
know who's really behind it.
Maddie's saying we gotta thank Unc. Well, he doesn't quite get it yet. We got another semester with Unc.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got one more semester with Unc Senhaji over here.
Yeah, next.
So we'll try to be back pretty quick. I know we started in the fall. We started a few weeks into school, but let's try and get it started pretty early.
We'll try to get it earlier. I think usually we can get this show earlier running than some of the other shows in the studio.
Yeah,
here at
we have our
USC.
roster too.
Yeah,
so.
we got our roster. Next season will be my farewell tour.
We'll miss you, Unc.
Yeah, I'm not going to be hitting those 2019 Dwayne Wade numbers though. I'm gonna be coming out
Like Bron.
like Bron. Exactly.
Like 41-year-old
Just don't
Bron
be like Paul Pierce.
cooking
man.
the Lakers.
No,
They ain't love you like that.
nobody
They ain't love you like
that. No. Hell no. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you guys. This was a fun one, man.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thanks again to my co-host.
Thanks to
Liam,
Tony.
Thank you to our
O'Connor,
producer.
Dasha Istafanous, and Edward Zhang, who is on the video in this final stream. I'm Tony.
Shout out
Kawashi.
Edward.
Yeah.